strike on Wadi al-Kfur in Nabatea province is one of the deadliest in Lebanon.
A Russian missile strike ignited a fire in the Ukrainian city of Sumy on Saturday, while Ukrainian forces continued their advance into Russia's Kursk border region.
2 people were injured in the Sumy strike, which also damaged vehicles and nearby buildings, according to Ukraine's state emergency service.
The first adult to face rioting charges following a week of unrest across England and Northern Ireland, triggered by a July 29th knife attack that resulted in the deaths of 3 young girls, appeared in court Friday. The Supreme Court declined to allow the Biden administration to enforce parts of a new rule that includes protections against discrimination for transgender students under Title IX while legal proceedings are ongoing.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Independent fact-checking and corrections are encouraged.
Can we get a cup of coffee in here, please?
Damn good coffee and hot.
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Oh,
My dog is your mind's best friend.
Wake up, America. You've got a dog that needs walking. That's right, sunshine. Just put on a big pot of strong coffee and get ready to type your little hate mail with your opinions about kumbaya and flat earth insanity. Stand-up comedy? You want stand-up comedy? Well, we've got sit-down comedy. It's time for Coffee with the Dog. You make me laugh.
not today. No laughing. There will be no laughing. Unless you want to laugh, then laugh. Right ahead. I'm not going to stop you. If you want to laugh. Ha-ha. Ha-ha. Wang, wang. Oh, good morning. Good Monday morning, all you Monday morning people. You're looking forward. You're in your car. You're crashing your car on the way to work, and then you're calling in the office and saying, I had a little fender bender. I'm not coming in today, right? That's the plan. Anyway, happy Monday. It is Monday, August 19th, 2024. August has been a shitty month, man. Weather-wise, holy crap. Holy crap, and really, literally, holy crap. We've had 2 tropical storm residues. We haven't had, where I am, I'm complaining here, but we haven't had the brunt of hurricanes or tropical storms, but got a flood in my basement this morning from the insane weather we had last night. This whole month is pretty much, with the exception of a couple of days, has been just a washout. Feels like fall. It's been cool and rainy, not August weather. And I am very affected by the weather. So I'm unseasonably grumpy, I guess is the way you could put it. But we will try to soldier on. Today we have books. Are you ready for more books? Have you read any good books lately? We have 2 authors on. One guy is guy who decided to change his life after going to prison. Came out and he's a new man. He's an author. He's turned his life around, and he's a Samaritan, and he built homes for people. Not homes. He built a I don't know, halfway house or a rehabilitation program for prisoners. Not people who necessarily rob flower shops or idiots like that, but other people who are seriously turning their lives around after prison. Now, interesting enough, both authors today have three names. You know, what are three names people like, I don't know, John Wilkes Booth, Lee Harvey Oswald. It's three names. You go by three names. It's a little, I don't know, John Wayne Gacy. I don't know. Who goes by three names? Crazy people, murderers. So, but I'm not saying that both our authors today will be murderers. Hopefully not, since I've already said some things that they might take exception with. I might be a target. Anyway, we'll meet them eventually. We'll get around to it. Yeah, I know you're chomping at the bit. Listen, Friday night, Scott, who is not a Redskin, he's a paleface. Yes, I mean a white Jew, came over to me and said, "Listen, if you're gonna claim to be part of the tribe, say it right. It's Puspatak, not Papusatak. It's Puspatak." I was hurt by that. I mean, I was hurt that I got it wrong. But so Saturday, I went down to the res. That's what we call it now in the tribe. We call it the res. You can call it the res too. And the girl who works the counter there, I asked her, I said, you know, how do you pronounce this thing? I think I've been pronouncing it all wrong. She said, I don't know. You don't know? I just work here. Oh, she's just working there. She's not even interested in becoming a member of the tribe because she gets her discounts working there. So I'm asking other people, and everybody gave me the same response. They just work there. Okay. So I so, you know, you don't even care about this stuff. She said, "No, I think it's all fake." It's all fake. Oh yeah, I think it is all fake too. I said, "Oh, who is? Have you ever met anybody from the tribe?" She said, "No, I think the guy who owns the place, the native land dispensary." Because there's dispensaries everywhere. She said, I think he might be, but I never really talked to him. We don't get to see him. He's not even here today. I was like, I feel like this whole thing is kind of like a bit of a scam. So anyway, basically, whatever it is, it's Puspatak, not Papusatak. Anyway, so you know what? No big deal. Basically, I get a discount, and that's all that matters. I get a discount on good weed, and that's all we really care about on this program, isn't it? I'll tell you one thing we care about: Doritos. Kid Rock is about to drop another video. I want to share a little screenshot from Kid Rock's new video. There it is. He's angry at Doritos because Harris likes a snack every now and then. These are the things we get a little upset about in today's day and age. So what if she was eating Doritos and drinking a Bud Light at the same time? What would they do? They'd be conflicted. They wouldn't know where to shoot. Anyway, we're going to meet. I think Steven is on the road to per diem. Per diem. Whatever it is, road to whatever that road to Stephen King wrote about. Not per diem. I don't know. It's Monday. Listen, I got a flood in my basement. I'm preoccupied with that in the back of my mind. That's my excuse for today. Anyway, we'll meet the two gentlemen in the back wings after this word from our sponsors.
With humble East Coast beginnings in 2015, Daily High Club is the premier destination for glass water pipes, vaporizers, and consumption accessories. If you're looking to elevate your smoking game to the next level, you're in the right place. With over 1 million top-quality smoking products sold, and with a growing base of over 10,000 monthly subscribers worldwide, we deliver the ultimate smoking experience. But Daily High Club is not just a retailer, we're lovers of the smoking scene ourselves, working with giants like Tommy Chong, Snoop Dogg, Chanel West Coast, and more. Ready to join the Daily High Club? Let our experts curate your collection with our awesome El Primo monthly subscription box, or grab one of our fun and unique pieces from our smoke shop. Click the link in the description below this video to get this party started now.
No. You know, consumption is actually tuberculosis. So you don't want to be, consumption accessories. I don't think they should change that word. That's all I'm saying. Um, eh, Most people don't even equate consumption with tuberculosis anymore, but that's what it is. Anyway, we have in the room right now the fabulous Ron Kane, who is the host and proprietor producer of Mr. Tongue's comedy, where you can go tonight and watch his tongue wave at you. And then up on the upper right corner, my best friend of 37 years, Miss J.K. Rowling. J.K., how are you?
Good morning, America. MindDogTV.com for all of your celebratory gift needs. Do you have a friend who used to be Italian, but now they're
No.
Puspatuck?
Puspatuck.
Puspatuck?
That's right.
We've got you covered. Do you have a friend who used to be in a wheelchair, but now they can walk? We've got you covered. Do you have a friend who has been banned from AI because of his algorithm choices? We've got you covered. Mind Dog TV. We'll sell you anything. We're mercenaries.
That's mercenaries. I love it. Mercenaries. Now, did you coin that phrase? That's a very good. I like it. Mercenaries.
I heard somebody use it yesterday at church, and I liked it.
Church was very good yesterday. It was one of the more, and maybe it was because I was delirious, but it was
But
good.
they also
It was
played
fun.
one of your songs, which probably helped make you feel better about it.
Oh no! You know what? That was one of my first attempts at green screen at home. I painted a cardboard box with green paint, put it behind me. This was like 2004 or something when I did that. There was a guy. His name was Dave. He's still around. He's in Nashville. Dave Isaacs, who had a band called Jackalope Junction, and Dave had a chip on his shoulder that was bigger than Alaska, and he thought he called himself the Long Island All Star, and he put together groups of all like he claimed he was an All Star just by default, the All Star, and just was angry at everybody because his music was not appreciated because but so that song it's called So Dumb is an ode to Dave. No such thing as a jackalope, so why are you acting like such a dope? He rented a theater to do a show, and nobody came, not even his mom.
Wow.
He had he rented a historical theater, the Vale Levitt Theater in Riverhead, which holds about 450 people, to do his CD release, and nobody came. It was him and his wife. So yeah, the jackalope thing. Now, Ron Kane has seen jackalopes. He's got one under his desk right now, don't you?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Do you know what a jackalope is?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen one. They're
what? They're all over the place.
Yeah.
They are here. Well, I'm looking for stray animals now. Crazy kind of animals showing up here. The chickens yesterday were getting bold. They were just walking everywhere, all around the house. Like, what the hell? Where did these chickens come from all of a sudden? Like, have they been here all along and they just figured out we can go there for free food? I don't know, but well, what did you do?
Chickens, though. So many people have chickens now, though.
Yeah, I guess it's for the cheap eggs. Now, I know it's the same, but somehow taking an egg out of a chicken's ass directly is a little weird to me. I don't know.
That is how my wife feels. That is exactly how my wife feels. We were given eggs, fresh eggs, straight from the chicken's butt, and my wife says, "You can eat them. I'm not."
Don't they have some like pasteurization process or something like that they do with store-bought eggs?
They powder them. I think they powder them. I don't think there's any kind of.
So there really is no dip. Well, because my friend who has chicken, sometimes the eggs are brown. Like, I don't know. I'm not eating the brown
That
thing.
depends on the diet. See, you can actually get the eggshells to be blue. You can get them to be yellow, brown. It all depends on what you feed the chicken. That's the color of, and it also can affect the taste of the eggs as well. by what you
So
feed the chickens.
instead of dyeing the eggs, we should just like fuck with the chicken's diet, and we don't for Easter eggs. I'm talking about Easter egg hunting. You know, where they dye the color eggs. You just
Right.
fuck with the chickens, make them eat also.
But your choices are. I don't know. I don't know if a chicken's butt is like a Crayola or crayon, and you can get like all 64 colors.
Purple. You could
Right.
get purple
I
or
don't know, but
violet.
I know you can get blue, you can get brown, you can get yellow, white. Well, the whites take over everything anyway. No matter what color the egg started out being, the whites are going to take over the chicken's ass. And anyway, it's called colonization.
Sounds highly
racist.
I don't know,
Yeah,
politicized. You're politicizing everything.
I'm just saying.
We have our first no show of the week, ladies and gentlemen, starting at Monday at 9:15. A serial killer by the name of John David Graham, who is the founder of the Good Samaritan Home, a housing mentoring program helping men and women restart their lives after prison. Must have gone back to prison or something, forgot.
One of his clients is now holding him hostage.
Except shoes, and he's like, "Fuck them people."
Nah, yeah.
I want to answer. I want to answer Ian's question real quick. Ian, and I'm sure Ian wants to know what happened to Steve. And to be honest, it was Ron's turn to watch Steve. All Ron had to do was to chock the wheels to make sure that he'd show up. Ron forgot to chock the wheels, and Steven rolled away downhill. No one stopped.
Last I saw, he was in a car with some guy who looked like he might be a serial killer. A guy with a big old. He just looked like what you would imagine a serial killer to look like. Whatever you imagine a serial killer to look like, this guy looked like that. So maybe he's gone. We lost our little Stevie. Look what you did to our little cable boy. Anyway, yeah, I think he'll be back next week after his Michigan thing. Are you guys in, you're not getting any remnants of this tropical storm, are you? Where you are?
No, we got the first. I got so much freaking rain. It's now, I don't know if it's from this. No, it must have been from Debbie. I think we got washed up from Debbie.
Oh, Debbie.
Yeah, Debbie came and
she's a squirter.
Yeah, yes, the stones. We had put new stones in our driveway, and I had like raked them out and smoothed them out, and she put a path right down the middle of it and washed my stones. No, I mean big stones.
But was she worth it? Was she worth all the extra work?
No, not at all. Looks like Mr. Graham is here.
Yes. Well, he kind of blacked out. We'll wait till he turns his camera on or figures that out before we introduce him to the device is not connected. So yeah, I have probably about 4 inches in my basement throughout the entire basement that needs to get pumped out today.
Wow. Why isn't it? Don't you have a sump pump? Is it just not working, or you don't have a sump pump, or is it clogged, or?
It was raining that hard. No, it can't keep up with all of it. Came down really. We had boatloads in there. So no, there's no such thing as a sump pump that can keep up with the kind of torrential downpour we had last night. I'm upset about it. It looks like he's having trouble getting the camera started. You know what? There's no way we need to have a technical support team ready to deal with these kind of things. Like if we were like a real professional outfit.
Well, our tech guy is not here. That's Steven's job.
Oh, that's right.
So Matt, I got a question. Since you've been doing this for a while, has anyone like come on camera like half naked or accidentally naked or anything like that?
Here, this guy, Tanner. I'll just use his first name. He came on. First of all, he was late. It was an evening program, and he was 20 minutes late. And I was just doing the show by myself at that point. I was just like rambling. And then he finally came on, and I said, Tanner, it looks like is that your family behind you? They were having dinner in the living room, and he was at the living room computer, and his whole family was having dinner behind him. I'm like, this is a little awkward. And then his sister got up from the table to chase the dog. The dog was running around or something, and all she had on was a T-shirt that came up to her navel, and her ass and her vag were hanging out. She was running around behind him. I was like, this is getting very weird. And the guy had absolutely nothing to say. Like, why did you book an appearance on the show? Because every question was like, yeah, no, like what? What do you? Oh, John just had his camera on. I was about to introduce him, and he turned it off.
He didn't even get a chance to have his 15 seconds of fame. It was like 8 seconds and dropped out.
All right, we'll meet him now. While he's got his camera on, let's get to this. John David Graham is a founder of Good Samaritan Home, a housing mentoring program helping men and women restart their lives after prison. Prior to that, he was a door-to-door salesman, children's home counselor, substitute school teacher, truck driver, fireman, building contractor, minister, and journalist. Sometimes the road home takes many twists and turns, requiring the necessary time and experience to develop what he calls the calloused hands and calloused hands and tender heart needed to write the story. He's the author of a book called Running as Fast as I Can. He's here now. Calloused hands. Welcome in, John David Graham. John, welcome.
Hey, I'm sorry about the confusion. That I had trouble with the browser and the I never had this before, but the cameras, I have 2 of them. And neither one would work, and all of a sudden popped up, and there you guys are.
All right. Well, welcome.
I'm ready to party.
Okay. Welcome. I said it basically before you got here, because we have another author after you, and she has 3 names too. The 3 names thing. It's like a thing. It's a infamous thing, infamy type of thing. You have John Wayne Gacy, you have Lee Harvey Oswald, John Wilkes Booth. I could go on and on. The 3 names thing.
Thank you. I feel better already.
You're not one of those guys, right? I noticed you dropped the David for me, I think, right?
We put the David on the book cover because it fills the blank space.
Plus, people are they're more apt to buy a book from a serial killer.
Yeah, this is Monday. It's gonna be a good week. I can see that already.
Yeah, well, you never know. Did you go to prison yourself?
Not for anything I've done, but I work with men coming out of prison.
Okay. What inspired you to work with people in prison? Because most people who do it actually did time themselves.
I have a motto about, I've had a lot of career changes, a lot of job changes, and I finally came up with a motto for myself. I said, I've been thrown out of better bars than this one, and I move on. And and what happened was, finally, at the end of our rope, I was 53 years old, and I was virtually homeless with my family. And so we bought the oldest house in town and said, let's remodel it and use this as a shelter. And because let's try to help those people who are even less fortunate than we are. And so we started doing that. And over the next couple of years, the Department of Correction came to us and said, can you help us with people coming out of prison? Can you house them temporarily? These are low-risk offenders who simply need a safe place to live. And we started doing that. And now it's been 23 years. And we've housed and mentored about 2,500 men and women coming out of prison.
Wow. Well, you've made me feel inadequate because my wife and I have taken in.
You were inadequate long before that.
But my wife and I have taken in about a dozen homeless people over the last 16 years. Every single one of them has stolen from us, caused all sorts of havoc. Now, that number that you just gave, have you had any bad experience? You've had to, right? Someone had to call the cops to get people out or something at some point along the line. If not, I want to know what the hell kind of magic you're running.
What you are doing is actually more dangerous than what we are doing, because we homeless people have no screening and they're surviving. But at least when you're dealing with people on parole, they've got a parole officer, and we know about them coming in. So even if somebody's committed a serious crime, at least I know what I'm dealing with. But the key element is we no longer use our own personal house. We have, over the years, been able to buy and remodel upwards of 19 houses.
Wow.
And I have 10 staff now helping me. So it's become a major, it's a nonprofit, of course, but the state of
means you're
Ohio.
making money. Right. That
I'm
means
getting
your nonprofit means you're making money.
Yeah, our bills are paid. Yeah, absolutely. And we don't necessarily make a profit, but to be quite candid, there's always work in rehabilitation.
Right.
And the best part of it is that the money that the state will spend on our house is about half what they would spend on prison. And when somebody is outside in the community working, they're paying taxes, they're buying food, they're buying clothing, they're paying their child support. So everybody wins with community rehabilitation.
Now,
So that's the reason behind it.
Now, I have a question for you. You've had quite a few job experiences. Let's say your resume is not empty, and so
you're kind.
Does that help you in the sense that you meet someone to counsel them because you can say, "Oh, I see, I've done this. This is how you go about doing that," because you've done so many different things. You can actually say to them, "I've done this. I don't think that's good for your personality. You might try this because I've done this. I've done this." Does it help you counsel because you've done so many different things?
It makes me very sympathetic when a guy says, "I don't know what to do. I can't get a job," and because they're frozen. And I've been that way because you can be educated, but you're not equipped. And then you, after so many rejections, you feel like nobody will ever hire me. So what we do is it's an old trick.
Comedian.
I'm sorry?
You're a comedian. Are you a comedian? Because that's exactly, you just described a comedian's life. After so many rejections, nobody's going to hire me.
Well,
or musician or actor.
I'm very I don't want to say comfortable, but I'm very used to rejection. And the success that Good Samaritan Home has had these past years, I still pinch myself. But I think what happened was we asked ourselves, what is the need in the community? And how do we help meet that need? And we've been able to meet that need better than if we were trying to go out and say, here's what I want to do for you.
This is a really important concept, that because I have a friend, I was just talking to my wife about this last night. She has run her own business for 30 years unsuccessfully. She's a CEO of a business, driven everybody out of her life. Her husband left her because she's just so maniacal about wanting to make this thing a success. But she's always come from the standpoint of, I want people to buy what I'm offering, not I want to offer what people need or want. And I think, and that's it should be a simple concept to think, I have to fill a need, not force people to need or want what I have as a business model. But in life in general, that is basically the best approach. Is like, what do people need? What do people want? What can I fill, rather than how do I make people want what I have?
But actually, Matt, what you just described though is the antithesis of like what happens with cell phones. I'm just as for example, or even high def televisions. We didn't need high def televisions. We didn't need cell phones. Those things were like, they use so much money to say to us, we're going this direction. You're going to need this, and we bought onto it. So she just didn't have enough money to convince people for a product.
I think what happened was we started with the tough on crime issues in 1968 with Richard Nixon, and then it really escalated with Ronald Reagan, and we were locking up everybody. And what we found was after 20 years that the prison population had gotten so crowded, and people were coming out of prison after these long sentences for what we now consider relatively minor drug crimes. And they were coming out harder and worse and more angry than they were going in. And so in Ohio, at least, what they said was, we need to rethink what we're doing. And they came up with this idea of community policing or community corrections. And if you put the money with put your high dollars with high risk, and that's where you have your intense programs. but you put the low dollars with people who don't need much. All they need is a safe place to live temporarily. So
Well,
we don't do counseling as such, but we do mentoring, which I think is more important.
I do too. No offense, but I think that's the first time I've ever heard Ohio and think in the same sentence.
Well, in this part of Ohio actually is very progressive.
All right. I'm just kidding.
No, it's
But
I
you-
know what you're saying.
You
What
talk
part of Ohio
about
is it? What part of Ohio are you in?
Dayton, Western Ohio.
Dayton, yeah. Dayton is an arts community there, big music and comedy community there. You talk about nonprofits. The problem, I think, is what we have now in America is profitable prisons and prisons as an industry, and that gives the incentive to lock up more people. If it's a profitable thing, we want to create more criminals that we could lock up and keep locked up, and we don't want them rehabilitated. We want to keep them back in it, because if we're making money off this, the last thing we want is rehabilitated people. We need more prisoners. They're customers. They're paying the bills in a lot of ways, and I think that's part of the fallout from all what you were talking about, the tough on crime thing. Now we are locking up homeless people, thinking that that's more affordable for the society, to feed them three meals a day in there, rather than take them out, rehabilitate them so that they can be productive members of society and take care of themselves. Let's just lock them up because it's profit in it.
And what we're seeing more and more of, particularly in one of our programs, is mental health issues. Is that instead of having some sort of rehabilitative mental health facility, those have been closed and they end up in jails or prisons. And so we're dealing with, I would say, probably 50 to 75% of our residents have mental health and clearly addiction issues that come with it.
Right. Now, moving on to the book, Running as Fast as I Can. What is that? A novel, a memoir?
It reads like a memoir, but it's clearly a fictionalized fiction novel. But it's what I call a coming of age story. It's about Daniel Robinson, and he starts in a home where there's in the mill slums of Pittsburgh, and it's what I would call a factory home, where in Pittsburgh in the 50s, you went to work in the factory or the mill, and you came home, you went to the bars. Family was something you shared a house together. And the key was that everybody went their own direction, because there wasn't this concept of family that we see in much of our culture today. So Daniel grew up in a home where his mother was mentally unstable. His father was an alcoholic and abusive. And he eventually was, after several beatings, he ran away to his pastor. And his pastor welcomed him, but then sexually abused him.
That's why I made that face as soon as you said pastor. I knew it was coming.
Yeah. And so he spent the next 10 years throughout the 1960s wandering the country trying to find a real family. And he goes through the racial issues in Detroit or in Cleveland. He was at Kent State. He was in San Francisco. And it's actually it's almost like a Forrest Gump journey through history. But in the end, Daniel is trying not just find a new family, but he learns forgiveness and he learns how to love. And so it's actually an inspirational story, because it's garnered 22 awards.
Wow! Congratulations! Yeah, the high praise. I've looked through all the not all, but I've read through some of the reviews, and the very, very nice reviews you've gotten on this.
Well,
work.
I think the readers can identify with Daniel as I call him everyone, because people feel they know what Daniel's feeling.
Now, they say write what you know. How is this? Did you experience not? Listen, I don't want to apply all this stuff of the rape from the pastor. But have you? Are you a Pittsburgh guy? I mean, how do you know about all this stuff? Kent State.
Well, I grew up in Pittsburgh, and all the travels that Daniel takes, I was there in one place or another. So that's why today I look at what we're going through today politically, and I remember it was 1968. We did the same thing back in the 60s. It's just it was more violent then.
I don't know. We'll find out.
Well, we'll find out. Yeah,
yeah.
you're right. We had on an almost daily basis, we had campus bombings.
Yeah.
And the SDS was very active then.
That's a good point. We haven't seen the kind of violence on campus that was going on in 1968. But we have seen different kinds of violence in different parts of the.
But also in '68, it would not been uncommon for government officials to infiltrate groups that were not violent to begin with, and then teach them to be violent, and then
agent provocateurs.
Yeah. So and I think that with the absence of Hoover, with the absence of a Hoover, I think we have a Dyson in charge of the FBI now instead of a Hoover. Maybe it's a Eureka. But the point is, we're not doing that as much. We're not infiltrating groups like that and then encouraging them to be violent. So we don't know how much of that violence is organic and how much it was inspired by provocateurs.
Right. That's good.
And I'll be honest with you. I went to Kent State the day of the shootings, but I wasn't in the protest. I need to clarify. That's in the book as if Daniel was there, but I personally was not in the protest at Kent State. I went to see a girl and she wasn't there, so I left. But I ended up at Ohio State in the middle of a protest. So the Guard did surround us that day. They did turn their guns on us. The students did try to provoke something. And looking back, it was as dangerous as Kent State, but fortunately, cooler heads prevailed.
Wow.
But the end result was it took me 30 years to ever enter a voting booth.
Wow. I would think you would be more inclined to vote after an experience like that.
I think you lose faith in the structure, and I still wrestle with that because
the faith in the structure.
I think that's what a lot of people are feeling today. They're feeling like they can't trust any government officials the way that we were taught to trust them. And there's a skepticism that concerns me more than anything else.
This is weird because not weird, but the word weird now is like I don't know, the worst insult you could ever have. But it sounds like, from what I'm hearing from you, it sounds like you are a pessimist in one regard, but you could not be doing the work you do in terms of the Good Samaritan home if you weren't an optimist on some level. It's a weird dichotomy there.
Pragmatic optimist.
That's a very good way to put it. Very good way, because I think the only thing that sustains me is this Good Samaritan is a faith-based organization, but it's not faith-centered where we require that of others. My faith motivates me, but my faith, as the book will detail, is filled with questions and doubts. And
faith in what? In a God or human race, or what faith?
I believe in the Creator. I believe in God, and I believe that there is a universal design. But I do not believe that God is micromanaging our politics.
Yeah, or anything.
I think very good. We are given choices. So, and what we are asked to do, I believe, as our primary mission, is to try to better the spot where you're standing.
So I just want to be clear, in your vision of the universe, God doesn't care if the Mets win or lose?
Yeah, and definitely not the Yankees.
I thought the Yankees were working for the other side.
Well, first of all, God doesn't even watch baseball. It takes too long.
That's funny you should say that, because in the book, Daniel grows up with the Pittsburgh Pirates and his father loves them. And Daniel hates the Pirates because it's associated with his father. So.
Yeah. So now you the book. Is this the first book you've authored?
First fiction. I wrote an academic book, and the 6 people who read it said it was good. But
wow. So that's incredible. I mean, generally, the first one, like anything, the first thing you do is not going to be well received. It's you're breaking your cherry as far.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The numbers are incredibly against a new author.
Right. So
It-
good for you. I mean, again, the reviews are really spectacular and very impressive that people have read it and feel compelled, because it's hard to get people to commit to writing something if they have a positive experience. If they have a negative experience, they could write a paragraph or an essay. But generally, it's really hard to get people to say anything positive, and you had a lot of that. So good for you. Enjoyable experience writing the book.
It took me 7 years and 24 rewrites because
Wow, I'm inspired.
the first draft was easy, but it was also junk. But the last 2 years, I had a professional editor work with me, and he made a world of difference. And I feel the end product is a very readable version now.
Right.
And I'm comfortable with it. But then the numbers say that no matter how good it is, there are excellent books out there like Moby Dick that wasn't published for 50 years. It sat on the shelf.
Well, it's hard to get the rights away from that whale. The whale had it was hard to get the rights away from that whale. He had a very good attorney.
Yeah.
So it's not a porn now. I mean, just from the title, I thought that was about pornography or something. No.
Well, it deals with some very adult subjects, but I was very careful because it's easy to make something titillating. It's easy to be descriptive. It's hard to be honest and still let the imagination do the work. And there are some things in there that are very difficult to read, but they're not written in a prurient sense where I'm just trying to titillate the audience.
So has this experience inspired you to continue down this path of authorship? Are you an author now?
Well, I don't think you can ever really make money as an author, but I'm not doing it for money. I think all told, I've made about $80. So I can officially call myself a professional.
Well, you've made more than both of these guys have ever made in their comedy careers combined.
Combined, yeah. And not only that, you actually, because of the amount of money you've made, you're actually in the upper echelon of artists.
That's exactly. But we're working on the Audible version now, so I've been reading and rereading it again, and the end product is I'm still as fascinated by the story as I was when I wrote it. And
are you reading the Audible version yourself?
Well, no, I'm not. I'm editing it for the actor because I thought about it, but I don't have the equipment or the skill. And he's doing just a bang up job because he can convey the emotions, particularly when the intense scenes where you have probably maybe 30 or 40 characters throughout the book, and he can convey those.
Is it written in third person, like or read in? Okay.
So that's why some people say I thought this was a memoir because Daniel says I.
Right. What is the significance of running as fast as I can? The title.
Well, throughout the book, Daniel keeps saying, I feel like I spent my entire life running as fast as I can. I've done the best I can do, and I can't catch up with normal people. And my philosophy
there are none.
The Good Samaritan Home, we deal with people. Almost every one of them come from a home with no mother or father or absent mothers or fathers. And then the abuse factors in, and they are almost predestined to go to prison. So they're starting behind. So we're not trying to rehabilitate. We're trying to habilitate. We're trying to give them skills they never had. Well, I can identify with that because I was never taught to go to college. I was never taught to stay with a family. I wasn't taught to even do things. Enjoy the theater, for example, or even a comedy club. Entertainment was not part of my culture.
Wow.
So I spent my life trying to catch up to you guys.
And now that you're here, aren't you disappointed? No.
You're good.
I am. I'm very disappointed. When I'm listening to that, I wonder how I didn't end up in prison. Just good luck. Good luck.
Well, actually, that's a good point, because you could take a road when you were 12 years old, and next thing you know, you're down a road you didn't recognize.
Oh yeah, I
Oh
left
yeah.
home when I was almost 14 years old, like 2 weeks shy of my 14th birthday. Actually, 2 weeks past my 14th birthday. Now that I think about it, it was in September. But yeah, and there were so many things that could have gone wrong for me that could have ended I could have ended up in prison, and I didn't. And broken homes and neglect and all that, that kind of stuff. Not my parents weren't divorced; they were in prison, they were in jail.
Really?
Yeah, I came home from school one day and they were both arrested and taken by the FBI. And
Now that's interesting.
yeah,
That's
you would think it wasn't. It kind
well,
of
see, your
boring.
life has forever changed because of that. Your normal is different than somebody else's.
Yeah,
normal.
well, that's why when you said this guy is chasing normal, Daniel's chasing normal. You're chasing a ghost. You're chasing an illusion. There is no normal. In my world, listen, everybody's got something: trauma, pain, confusion, craziness. Dysfunction. We talk about families. I think every family is dysfunctional on some level, even though they're functional on a lot of levels, some of them. But, what is normal? How do you define normal? I think the problem is we look outwardly too much, compare, and things look pretty and perfect from the outside. But once you get on the inside, you find there's cobwebs everywhere.
Absolutely. Thoreau said that we're all leading lives of quiet desperation.
Yeah. Now, do you have you had disappointments with people that you've mentored and they've fallen back and ended up back in prison?
Yeah, I keep reminding my staff and myself that our goal is not necessarily perfection. We don't want somebody to finish their college degree and go out and get an executive job. Our basic goal is we want them to get a job and to be taxpayers and stay out of jail.
Right.
So if somebody, and particularly now with the economy, there are a lot of jobs, but they're service jobs, and they're often temporary. So it's a tough world right now, particularly if you have a felony.
Yeah.
And so if I can get a guy who can stay out of jail for 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, I would consider that very successful.
Yeah. And so once they, I don't know, I'm going to use the word graduate. They leave the Good Samaritan home, and do you keep tracks on? Do you check up? I mean, you're talking about a lot of people. I understand, but do you keep in touch with them?
We've actually hired several people have come through our program. They become staff, and because they know far better than I would how to deal with these issues. But I'll give you an example. My very first resident was Reggie. And he was from Cleveland, and he came into the town we were living in, was a 95% white rural community. And he was as afraid of the white people as the white people were of a black man from prison living with them.
Wow.
And he not only survived, but he has been successfully stayed out of prison. He's married. He's got a job working for over-the-road trucking company. And he's called us up just about a month ago just to say hello, because he had stumbled across my book and he was reading it and he wanted to call and talk to me. So
wow.
Reggie is clearly a success story.
Wow.
Now, he didn't call and say, I saw your book, I stole a copy to read it, and now I'm in jail. Can you help me out? Or did he no? No.
You're good. I would have probably done. I would have autographed his book while he was in jail.
Well, this is and I brought this up, with because I have so many authors on. Do you donate books to the prisons or prison libraries? Because I think, if you're in there, you definitely need hope that if you get out, there is some change, avenue for change in life, rather than this hopeless. I'm just going to get out. I'm going to get back with the same people. I'm going to end up robbing a flower shop again, and back in jail. So, this book could be an inspiration and hope for people who are on the inside before they get out. Any thoughts on that?
I was thinking that very same thing a lot lately. I've got in mind for an idea for a novel, a second novel, but it's different. What I'm proposing, I haven't officially done this yet with the Department of Correction, is I want to go in to a prison and hold a writing class, a series of classes. But the idea is not to teach writing. I would like them to write a short story or a chapter. Then we could then publish that in an anthology. Because
Very cool.
to publish my book, I started a publishing company called Don Quixote Press. But the idea is, if I could get somebody who feels like nobody's listening, because everybody coming out of prison says that nobody listens to me. So if I could get them to be free to express something, maybe the question can be, what single event in your life was cataclysmic for you? What turned your life left or right?
Yeah.
Write that story. And if I could teach somebody that and then publish it, they would be heard. And that would give me a way to reach more people with my writing.
I think we have experienced an epidemic of invisibility.
Very good. Very good.
Everybody feels, not just prisoners, homeless people, and even people who are fully functioning in life, holding down a steady job and in a family. They feel like, if I'm not a celebrity, if I'm not one of these pretty people, if I'm not one of the influencers, I want the important people, that I'm nobody, and I don't. What's the purpose of my life? Why was I even born? What am I even living for if nobody knows who I am?
Well,
and I think you have.
I'm sorry. Just look at Elon Musk. With all the money that he has, he still didn't feel like nobody was listening to him. He went out and bought Twitter so he could buy people to listen to him.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we can go. That's a whole other thing about how rich does never buy you happiness. I mean, we can look at all the people who are rich and famous and were among these pretty people or influential people or powerful people who still ended up dying young, self-destructively, from Elvis to Michael Jackson to all of them. I mean, basically, there's lots of lessons in that. But I do feel like society in general is suffering from this. I feel unimportant. There's 8 billion people on this planet, and I'm a nobody. And how can I be important? How can I be somebody that somebody listens to? It gets worse if you are in prison or a homeless person, and particularly for homeless people, where people are just stepping over them on their way to work every day. And I feel invisible. They don't even see me here. I'm just an inconvenience to people on their way to work every day. So
in the book, Daniel was in San Francisco and he was homeless because he'd been robbed and he had no money. And after a week on the street, he said, "Nobody sees me. I'm invisible." Exactly what you said.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they go home and come and see reports of homeless people on TV, and they're like, "Wow, we got to do something about this problem." It's like an inconvenience to them that you're at this. The heartlessness and the lack of empathy here is people who think that somebody who's lost their home and is sleeping on the street and probably eating garbage or somebody else's cast away food or whatever. Those people are there to make your life more inconvenient. That's the attitude that we have towards them, and it's which is why we bring people in, but it's also the reason we end up getting screwed over. And the cops, the last time we had to have people removed, cops said they're homeless for a reason. You should, because they get tired of coming here and dealing with this stuff. He said, "You got to stop trying to help these people. They can't be helped." I'm like, well, there you go. That is the worst possible answer I could ever want to hear. It's like, well, let's just give up on humanity and just be selfish.
When we started Good Samaritan Home, we had a lot of blowback from the community. There were petitions. The city sued us 3 times. I had police protection going to council meetings. Somebody stabbed me when I was in front of the courthouse. It was a mentally ill person. He really didn't know what he was doing. But my point was that there was so much fear that those people would come into our town that we just, like one attorney said, they should just live somewhere else, not
Yeah.
here.
Right. Well, yeah, but that's the point. Is like where would it be comfortable where nobody is going to feel non-threatened? And like to your point about Reggie, those people are the people who are being housed are just as scared of the community a lot of times. It's really you know what, this is not uplifting for me. I'm feeling a little more and more pessimistic the more we're having this conversation about where we're going from here.
More pessimistic? You're feeling more. I didn't know you.
I know it's hard to imagine I could be more of a pessimist, but
I'll give you
obviously.
one way I deal with that pessimism, because I can be that way too, is that I was moving a refrigerator from one of our houses and it's too big for me. So I asked this one fellow, a resident, he had been in prison and he was, he seemed to be very slow intellectually, but he was struggling. So I asked him to come help me move the refrigerator. And he started talking. And after we moved the refrigerator, I bought him a lunch. I got him a submarine sandwich or something like that. And he said, "Now you're a writer, aren't you? Well, I want to write a book. Will you read it for me?" And so I promised to read his first chapter and give him my feedback. And you would think that I had promised him $1 million because I heard him.
Right.
That's what he wanted.
Yeah.
He helped me, and I gave him something back that he wanted most, to be heard.
Good for you. I mean, it's good that you are you're setting an example of how to be a productive and helpful person in society. And clearly, you have empathy.
I felt better doing that. Listening to him made my day.
You know, whenever I play, I do a lot of facility work, assisted living, nursing home stuff, and the people always come up and they say, "Thank you so much, you made our day," and they're surprised when I say thank you. You've done more for me than I've done for, and it's a hard concept for people to grasp. Is that yeah, not that you do it necessarily for that reason. Sometimes you're just doing it just to kind of do something and stay busy. But there is nothing more gratifying than to see that you've actually really made a difference for people in a small way. It's very, you get more out of giving. It's cliche, I know, but you get more out of giving than you do if you're the person on the receiving end. So,
and if you watch the news daily, like most of us do, and the talking heads, and they're all so negative, and the world is ending. At the end of the day, you want to slit your throat. So the only cure I found is if I can find somebody that I can help somewhere,
or somebody else you could slit their throat. Like for me, it's GD. I always fantasize about slitting his throat, and that makes me feel better.
Now this is being recorded, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but
it won't happen. He's too far away.
He'll delete it from the actual on-demand portion.
No, people know it's like I would do it, but it's like a 4-hour drive, and that's way too much for me. The slitting the throat part is the easy. It's just like I'm not driving all the way there. If he showed up here, I would do it.
If you do that, you'll have to run as fast as you can to get away.
That's true. Running as fast as I can is. Good way to wrap this up. We do have to run to our next segment. Running as Fast as We Can is the name of the novel. JohnDavidGraham.com, and the link to where you can buy the book is also in
you guys have been great. You've made my day. I appreciate that.
Thank you. We appreciate all you do, and keep on doing what you do, man. You're an inspiration, and thank you for being here.
Thank you for not being a serial killer. Thank you for not being a serial killer. The 3 names had me concerned. I was scared.
Yes.
Well, after this broadcast, you don't know what I might turn into.
Okay. Well, we'll watch for you on the news. Thanks for being here. Have a great day.
Thanks.
Bye for now. Bye. John David Graham. Thoughts?
Crosby's Nash. I meant to ask him if he was related to the other Graham from Crosby, Stills. Was that a Graham in there? Was there a
That's
Graham?
Graham Nash. Graham Nash, but the Graham is his first name.
Oh, okay. I knew there was a Graham in there, but I couldn't make sense out of it because I'm like, it's like CNS.
Graham Cracker.
Well, I was going to avoid that one. That was too low hanging fruit.
Wow. Too low hanging fruit for you is pretty low. Because let's see here. I want to take this out. Don't I want to take this out? Yes, I want to take that out.
What are you trying to take out?
I took out the banner going across. It said JohnDavidGraham.com.
So,
That's what
okay,
I took.
so what was the ritual like? The ritual, did they was it like a circumcision or was it holy water? Did they
It
paint
was
you
like
red?
this. There's free food over by the barbecue there. There's free beer and soda and drinks over there. You can buy your weed at a discount here. There's music playing.
No ceremony, no. I am so disappointed because I was really hoping you said they came out and went like, hey, hi, 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 and threw feathers on you and tapped you on the head with a feather or something, or at least
here's a little. We got a little bit of it on film here.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free.
That's enough of that.
I thought they'd at least have you like get on one knee and take a feather and knight you or something. You're now Sir Papoose Tuck.
No, nobody. There were no Poospatucks there. I still can't say. I still want to say Papoosatuck. There were no. Basically, it's a business. They're selling weed, and the whole thing is you get discounts if you join the tribe.
They're not charging you membership dues, because I hate when you join an ethnic group and then they charge you membership dues.
No, it's quite the opposite. You get points every time you come there, and then they give you more discounts for being an active member of the tribe is smoking a lot of weed.
Now, are there grades? Are there grades of Poospatucks?
Oh,
it's like
yeah,
you start off like, are you like a level 1 Poospatuck, and then after a few years you could be like
I started off at the highest level. The highest.
That's when it's smoking.
How much you spend there? I'm a big spender, so
okay.
I contribute to the tribe's economic well-being. The tribe, I say. Now I got into a little bit of a discussion with the girl who worked behind the counter there, and she was making a good argument. And I said, "Well, what are you going to school for?" And she said she was a liberal arts major. I said, "Look at me." I said, "You're gonna someday, 20 years from now, somebody's gonna be interviewing you. I want you to remember what I'm telling you. Civil rights lawyer. This is what you should be." And she smiled, and then I fucked her, and then I yelled, "Geronimo!" That part I made up. That part is made up. That's all fantasy.
You know,
but
yelling Geronimo is made up.
Yeah.
You don't want to yell some other tribe's name. You want to yell a chief from your own tribe, not the.
Yeah, wasn't Geronimo an Apache? I don't know. What was Geronimo? I think he was an Apache.
I think he was an Apache, because back then there were only 3 tribes when I was a kid: Apache, Cherokee, and
Oh no, you're wrong. You had your Sioux, you had your Comanches. Yeah, Comanches were worse than the Apaches. Comanches were they were brutal killers.
Okay, so but you understand what I'm saying? When I was growing up, which is like way after you, but on television there were basically only 4 types of Indians, and
no, the Hakawis. What about the Hakawis?
On television,
they were on television. The Hakawis were the F Troop, Chief Wild Eagle, and Crazy Horse.
I was thinking of the movies, not this.
Crazy Cat. I'm sorry, not Crazy Horse. Crazy Cat. We're the Hakawis.
You go with the Go Gophers and whatever tribe they were for. Oopie doopie, oopie doopie.
Right. Right. I can't believe you didn't get the F Troop reference. Ron was all over that. I saw him. He was like, he got excited by it. He got.
Well, Ron was
little,
excited by the F part. Once you said troop, you lost him.
Ron, you got to shut up, Ron. You're just talking too much. Let's do some really quick news. Ron will show us his feet, and then we'll come back and whatever. All right, that's the news,
The Supreme
folks.
Court declined to allow the Biden administration to enforce parts of a new rule that includes protections against discrimination for transgender students under Title IX while legal proceedings are ongoing.
The High Court upheld two separate rulings from federal courts in Kentucky and Louisiana, which blocked the Department of Education from enforcing the entire rule across 10 states. The Justice Department had requested the Supreme Court to stay part of these decisions, but the court declined. Jim Kender reporting.
The first adult to face rioting charges following a week of unrest across England and Northern Ireland, triggered by a July 29th knife attack that resulted in the deaths of 3 young girls, appeared in court Friday.
Kieran Usher, 32, did not enter a plea during his appearance at South Tyneside Magistrates Court on Friday morning. His next court date is scheduled for August 23rd at Newcastle Crown Court. Usher, from Sunderland, was arrested Thursday by Northumbria Police and charged with rioting in connection with alleged disorder that occurred in Sunderland on August 2nd. Chris Anderson reporting.
A Russian missile strike ignited a fire in the Ukrainian city of Sumy on Saturday, while Ukrainian forces continued their advance into Russia's Kursk border region.
2 people were injured in the Sumy strike, which also damaged vehicles and nearby.
I've had enough. You bombed a place called Sumy. So sue me. What? This Russian-Ukrainian thing, it's just it's a distraction. And I tell you, just end it. Just be nice. Why can't we just all get along? I'm sorry about that. I bombed the news prematurely. I bombed the news like Russia bombed Sumy. I need to get a better news thing. That it sounded like, I don't know, AI got a learning disability there. I mean, it was really slowly and trying to articulate every vowel and all that kind of stuff, but it was just not good. It was just
So
not
how
good.
much news do you need a day? Because maybe I could do, watch television and get news. I mean, that's all he's doing is like scanning the internet and getting like 30-second sound bites or something. And not
From 3 days ago. From 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, I could probably do it like the night before, and at least it'd be as fresh as the night before.
Could you do Charles McCoy? You should listen to Charles McCoy. You know Charles McCoy? You don't know Charles McCoy.
Was he a basketball player?
He could have been. He was tall enough to be. He was Imos's news guy. But yeah.
Didn't all of Imos's people get arrested for racism or something? Or
no.
Okay, I can't. It's been a while since I remember Imos, and I remember he had a show.
Bernard McGirt, who was a producer who basically Imos gave him his first job in radio. He was a hardcore racist guy. Very funny when he was not being like racist to minorities, like when he was poking fun at his own people, like he used to do Cardinal O'Connor. It was Cardinal O'Connor's lottery numbers, which was fucking hysterical. But he was really racist. Imos got accused of being racist because he would let Bernard McGirt, just say stuff and then sometimes repeat what he would say just because it was so funny. Like that nappy-headed hose thing was something Bernie said.
Let's say there was,
and then Imos repeated that. And then Imos got basically thrown off the radio station that he was on for 35 years for saying that, because all of a sudden they thought he was racist. And Jackie, who will be here tomorrow, will tell you that Imos was racist, but he didn't really know him well. He listened to what Stern told him about Imos. But I will tell you this: Imos a ranch for kids with cancer had far more minority children and people of color on there than white children, and he would spend his entire life trying to help them overcome disease. To me, that's if you're making jokes that are racially insensitive, but doing everything you can in your life to help people and be really good to people, I think you have to have some grace for that. I mean, listen, times are different. People people made off-color jokes, and it was funny. It was funny. Anyway, so I don't think Imus was racist in his heart. That's basically what I'm saying. Sometimes he said things. Most of it was repeating what Bernie said, and I think Bernie was a hardcore. They're both dead. They're both dead, and nothing can bring them back.
Nothing?
So why do we keep nothing?
Nothing?
Nothing can bring them back.
Have we tried everything? Because if we haven't tried everything, we don't know that nothing can bring them back. I'm just saying.
Like what's left to try? Like a time machine?
I don't know. I haven't tried everything. We haven't tried the time machine because we haven't made the time machine. That so,
according to you.
Well, if we've made the time machine, we made it after I made that statement.
Maybe, yeah. Oh no, it was before. It was before this. It was like months ago, years ago, decades ago, centuries ago. Maybe you should look into the time travel groups on Facebook and have those discussions over there.
No, I will not. I refuse. I refuse. I will only argue with people who deal in facts. I will not deal with people who deal in facsimiles.
What the hell are you doing here?
You guys are like fact-based, sort of, kind of.
All right. What else do you want to talk about before our next guest here? You want to talk about the DNC tonight and projecting Project 2025 headquarters on the Trump building in Chicago last night? Did you see that?
No, I didn't know about that. I didn't know.
They have the DNC is across from Trump's tower in Chicago, and they have projected right above Trump Tower Project 2025 HQ, and it looks like it's part of the sign for the building, and obviously Trump is losing his mind over that. Like, make them turn it. You can't make them turn it off. They're not doing anything illegal.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
That is. I wish I had a picture of that. That's hilarious. That's so funny.
I'll get you a picture of it.
Okay. Will you sign it for me? Will you sign it for me?
I will. Let me see while I'm looking for that. DNC stuff. You got any predictions? Any ideas about what might be happening this week, or you care at all? The
only thing I hope is that Biden gives like the best speech of his career, because this is probably going to be like the last notable speech that he gets to give, and that way, if Kamala wins, he'll have that, because otherwise he'll have to like hope to give it again, and in 4 more years, and that's no. I'm just hoping that he can go out gracefully, pass the baton, and be done with it.
So you don't agree with Trump? I find this hard to believe that you don't agree with Trump. That Biden hates her. They stole his. He wanted to be president again. He's going to jump back. I don't know if you've seen the latest ramblings.
I did see that. He's projecting, because that's what Trump would do. Trump would be like, "I'm not leaving. I'm going to That's neat. I like that.
Yeah. So yeah, Obama's going to give a speech, and people are saying he should wear his tan suit. His tan suit to give a speech tonight.
I think Michelle should give a speech and show her guns.
I think she is going to give a speech. Michelle, I think
tomorrow night. Yeah, she needs to, because they used to piss her. They used to piss them off.
Now, when you say guns, you're alluding to arms, not her cock.
Right. That's why I'm doing this. Yeah.
I saw that. That's why I knew you were talking about arms and not a cock.
Oh, that's because people on the radio don't know that what I'm patting. They don't know what that meat slapping sound is.
Right.
Yeah, Obama should give his speech from backstage with his, his sleeves rolled up and just smoking cigarettes. That should be his speech.
And a bag of Doritos.
Maybe some whiskey on the table and just, let me tell you how this is going to
go. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of expect there to be some mayhem, because there are still, as much as most of the party is completely unified behind Harris, there's still those malcontents that are just going to look to cause trouble and say, well, we didn't get to have a primary.
Yeah, well, most of them are just to borrow a phrase that I heard a few minutes ago from somebody on the show. They just want to be heard.
Yeah.
That's it. Some of them don't even have legitimate gripes anymore. They just want to be heard.
Right.
So
absolutely. I mean, this is the problem. This is why we have so many fucking conspiracy theorists in the world, is because people who feel like they're not important, this is a way to be important. If I have specialized knowledge that the earth is flat, that makes me more informed than you, and you're just an idiot, and now I'm not invisible. I'm not just the fucking whatever, garbage man. I'm not to put down the garbage man, but I like, especially today is trash day. I don't want to put down the garbage man.
All of a sudden, your stuff won't be picked up.
Yes. I hope my garbage man doesn't listen to this program. He can't. He's out working. He does a real job, not like me.
He could have it on his phone. He could be listening on his phone right now with his earbuds going.
But he probably doesn't speak. He doesn't speak English that well anyway.
He's listening to the second audio program.
I know. Nobody catches it. I'm just saying racist stuff that's flying over people's heads now. Anyway. So Ron, why are you so talkative today? You got a problem? You just like you worked up from over the weekend. You got a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of things on your mind that you gotta just talk about.
Maybe.
You're like Tanner Davidson. Oh, I said his last name. I'm waiting for your sister to get up and chase the dog around. Look that episode up if you can. It's hysterical. I mean.
Matt, you're so insensitive. Ron just lost his dog in the past year, and you're so insensitive. You keep bringing it up.
I keep bringing it up. I haven't let the dog rest in peace at all since the day he passed. I'm sorry.
Thank God Ron didn't lose a horse. Otherwise, you'd be beating that.
It's coffee with the dead dog. Well, our next guest is here. Are you ready? Are you excited? Are you inspired? Are you ready?
I have questions for her. And concerns.
Me too. She's another person with 3 names, so that means be a little guarded because she might be. I know, serial killer, because serial killers have 3 names, right? Well, Ted Bundy only had 2 names, so that's one.
I thought it was a grammatical error. I'm reading this and it says Amy Wineland Daughters is a keynote speaker, and I'm thinking it should be shouldn't it be a keynote speaker?
Her daughters are keynote speakers.
Her daughters are a keynote.
Her daughters are keynote. No, Daughters is her last name. Amy Wineland Daughters is a keynote speaker, letter writer, satirist, or as you like to call it, satirist, sports journalist, and author of Dear Dana. By the way, you see Trump. I don't think nobody knows how to pronounce it. Is it Dana? Is it Donna? I'm a guy who can't pronounce anybody's name. It's Dana. We're just going with that. And watch, she comes on and said, no, it's not. The time I went crazy and wrote all 580 of my Facebook friends a handwritten letter, and you cannot mess this up. A true story that never happened. She's here now. Ladies and gentlemen, please open your ears, open your minds, and help me welcome in Amy Wineland Daughters. Good morning, Amy. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, guys. That was an enjoyable intro. I was a serial killer. I had daughters that were keynote speakers, and I'm ready to refute everything.
Well,
the 3 names.
I just have a question before he even gets. I have to get this off the top of my head. It says you wrote written letters to your Facebook.
580 of a Facebook.
Yes. Did you handle it? How did you deliver them? Because they're handwritten. Their addresses aren't like there in Facebook. So how did you deliver them?
I mailed them through the U.S. mail. So I found their addresses either by asking them or stalking them or asking someone who knew them. So I probably had 40% of the addresses and had to get the other 60%.
Holy smokes! Now, were they formulated? I mean, you don't. If you're uncomfortable, if they think they were individualized and they weren't, you don't have to reveal that. But were they form letters, or did basically write an individual letter to everybody?
No, the introduction to each letter was kind of the same, but that was it. The rest of it was, they weren't long letters, 2 pages. The beginning was always like, here's what I'm doing. I've lost my mind. I'm crazy. I'm writing you a letter. And then the second part of the letter, or the second, the 3/4 was personalized.
Right. What inspired you to do that?
Well, it's, I was just minding my own business, and I was on Facebook, and I had worked at a summer camp in the 80s, high school, college, and I had a friend named Dana, and that is the correct pronunciation. And I had not spoke to her in 30 years, but her name had always kind of popped around in my head. So I got on Facebook one day. I was like, oh, what happened to Dana? I put her name in, and there she pops up, and I do what everyone does because it doesn't mean anything. I friend requested her, she accepted. I stalked her page and noticed her hair was different. And then right away, I was like, she overachieved with kids. She has 5 kids. And the youngest kid is the only boy. His name is Parker, and he's at St. Jude in Memphis. So he has cancer, and it's likely super serious. So as a mom, as a human being, as a person, I kind of got involved. I like to tell the story in different levels of me behaving irrationally. So first of all, I'm just watching in the background, watching this kid fight, and the mom, Dana, was a big LSU fan. I'm a big college football fan. So I start following along with that because that interests me. He goes into remission. He goes back home to Louisiana. So that goes off the back burner. And then at the end of 2014, he relapses, and she's like, we're going to the Ronald McDonald House. We're going back in Memphis. And you could tell it wasn't good at all. And so I was sitting at my desk, and it was like a lightning bolt hit me. And I was like, you know what I'm going to start doing? I'm going to start writing them cards and sending them to the Ronald McDonald House. And I had not talked to her in 30 years. I still hadn't even liked one of her posts. I hadn't written anyone a letter. So it's not like I was some kind of letter writing girl who was, mission to change the whole world. I was just like, this is what I'm going to do. And so I start writing them every week, and I was on a writing schedule. I was writing about college football at the time. And so I made her my Sunday, and for Monday. So I'd write the letter on Sunday, or a card, just a few words, praying for you, thinking about you. Hi, Parker. And I would send the letter. So I do that for about 6 to 8 weeks. I don't hear anything back. I mean, they're fighting cancer. And then in January of that next year, I get on Facebook again, and long post, Parker's passed away. He's 15 years old. So just complete devastation. And I felt myself overfeeling it. I kind of knew that, but I kind of felt like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, so I'm going to do it. So that had nothing to do with me. But I was like, so what do I do? So I was like, I'm just going to keep writing her letters. So then I stalk her husband's law office address because I don't know where she lives in Louisiana. I mean, we're just Facebook friends. It doesn't really mean anything. So I figure out this guy's address. I'm like, well, I'll just keep sending the letters. And I knew the whole time, I was like, you're nuts. That's crazy. Who does that? But I just felt so compelled, like I really couldn't control it. So I kept writing her. I probably wrote her for 4 months. And then all of a sudden, I go to my mailbox. It was on my birthday. And I go to my mailbox, and here is an 8-page letter from this woman. She has written me back. And she starts talking about her grief. And she told me after the fact that, here she is living life with the husband and the 4 daughters, and they've just suffered this unbelievable, unthinkable loss. And she said if she walks into the room and everybody seems like they're doing okay, she said she couldn't just go in and be like, oh my God, guys, I am losing it. Like this, I can't make it to the end of the day. So she would go and write me a letter and tell me about how she was feeling. And again, guys, we had not spoken to each other in 30 years. We really didn't know anything about each other, but we spent 2 years writing each other, just letters, no texts, no emails. And it was unbelievable. It kind of turned my head on a bunch of things because I didn't know if she was a Democrat or Republican. I didn't really know what she believed or didn't believe. All I knew is I cared about her. And then we started to trust each other through these letters. It was unbelievable. And I sat back about 8 months into that, and I was like, if so much goodness and kind of hope can come out of this one random Cajun person, then what else is out there? And I did not intend to do anything good. I wasn't like, I'm going to go on a meaningful journey and woohoo, change the world and feelings.com. It wasn't that. I was like, I think there's something out there in this. So I put all my Facebook friends' names into a little box. I bought some stationery, and it's like, Amy Wineland Daughter, your Facebook friend. And I start pulling these names out, and I was like, oh crap, now I got to write these people a letter. And I didn't think I was going to finish. It was just kind of, I journaled it. I kind of took it seriously. That's my personality. But when I got to about 100 letters, I was like, this is going to be the greatest adventure of my entire life. My hand is going to fall. I'm going to hate it, and I'm going to look like an idiot, and I'm going to not want to ever go on again. But it was the most magical 18 months of my life, and probably the best version of myself that I will ever live. To the point now, of course, I wrote a book about it just because it's a story worth sharing, and now I just want to talk about it because the something so deliberate as writing someone a letter or a note. I just didn't understand the impact that could have on people. So now
Well, you've come to the right place to have all your hopes and positivity erased in a single conversation. So I'm glad you've come into my domain so that I could kill all this kumbaya-ness that you're carrying around. I think social media. I you know what? There are some great benefits to getting in touch with people from the past, but also there are some great demons hiding in there. I've had this kind of situation where, by the way, we have Lubbock, Texas. I spent like 4 years going there every weekend. I know you're Texas Tech, so you're from
Guns up.
Yeah, some I supported Texas Tech. That was my team, even though I was not. I was going to Eastern New Mexico, over in Port Tallis, New Mexico.
Right.
Not much of a football team there.
I dated a guy who played at Eastern New Mexico. So yeah.
But so I had some experiences getting in touch with people from college. Some of them, you know what, they purposely avoid me, and we were good friends at the time. But I think it's like that's so far in the past. Maybe we should leave that in the past because I've changed, and you don't know who I am, and I don't know who you are. But I've had some really strange experiences with people. And you know, one woman that I met who was also, she was from Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. We got in touch with her, and we were writing letters back and forth. And then it turned out she was in a Scientology cult, and she was afraid that Miss Scavenge was keeping tracks on me now because I've been in touch with her, and I had to watch my back and all this stuff. Crazy stuff with getting in touch with people in your past. Have you had with the Facebook stuff? People that you've written letters to and you say, geez, I wish I would not have made any contact with this person at all, kept them at a distance on Facebook or social media?
I absolutely did not. It wasn't 100%, like kumbaya, like you said, and I said it was magical. And that's in the bigger realm of the, like, looking at it from an entire project as opposed. And of course I had a couple interactions that were, not that really made me think, like, okay, what are you doing? And you got to be careful what you say because people are going to take this as, meaningful. One thing that worked well for me was I told everybody I'm writing everybody a letter, and it was obvious I couldn't keep up. Like, I was not trying to make individual relationships out of this.
Right.
I was just trying to stop by and say hi. So the power of 600 letters was like, people got that was overwhelming, that I wasn't trying to be friends, like one-on-one friends with everyone. I was just trying.
So nobody showed up on your doorstep saying, I'm here.
No, I didn't have that. And plus I had, my dad died right after this all happened. And so I did have a few people show up at the memorial service, but that was actually nice because that was a one and done. You come and then you say hi and it's meaningful and that's it. But I had one interaction, which is in the book, that was difficult, an in-person run-in with someone who, that it did not go well. But again, that made me really question what I was doing with the project and my intentions. And it made me see exactly what you're saying, that human interaction is real. It's not kumbaya. It's not magical. The process and what I learned was magical, but each individual interaction was not.
Yeah. Now, I think what you described as feeling this empathy when the 15-year-old kid died. Not everybody experiences that, but this is not like self-aggrandizing or any of that kind of stuff. I'm a person who can definitely take on somebody else's pain, even sometimes more than they're actually feeling it. Like this empathy thing and this idea of being sympathetic to real suffering in the world. And sometimes people don't connect with their own suffering, but you do on some level. It can be good for an artist and for a writer and the things that you do, but it can also be really psychologically damaging to take on too much of that stuff. Is that something that you experience more than just this one time with the 15-year-old passing, do you? Because I'm online in the post office, and I see somebody with a sad face on, and all of a sudden I'm imagining the horrors of what their life is like, and I'm getting depressed over it.
Right.
Are you that kind of empath?
I think this was an exceptional thing for me. I do feel empathy for other people, but I think there was something deeper here. I don't know if that was intentional, and everybody can define that however they want to. I don't think my empathy level is where yours are, but I do agree that it, on some personal level, that is a burden. It was a burden for me. It's, and then getting involved with the people. It is a burden, and you can say, "Oh, what a great friend you were to her," or whatever, but it does come with absolute liabilities.
Yeah.
I know. I understand what she's going through with her loss, because 3 years ago I lost my cat, and so I understand how bad that is. Matt, why are you staring at me, Matt? It's serious.
Because you're just rehashing a painful incident from my life and throwing it in my face.
No, I wasn't throwing it in your face. I was empathizing with you.
All right. Well, it wasn't 3 years.
I was just going to say that my wife tells me all the time that I don't have empathy, and I still don't understand what she's talking about.
And you don't care.
I thought that was David Tell, but obviously it's Stephen Wright who's showing up here this morning. He often talks in inside jokes that the world doesn't get, except for him, and it makes him feel clever in doing that. What he's alluding to there is my son passed 8 years ago. The night my son passed, I got a phone call from a fan who said, "I know exactly what you're going through. My cat died 18 years ago."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Well, that's empathetic for you. But so now I wanted to ask you about, you're absolutely convinced that when human beings connect individually in a meaningful way, that nothing can separate them. This is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. I talk about this because I'm having these end of life dreams and visions of kind of things, of important things that went on in my life, and what felt like important, meaningful relationships and connections many years ago that I did not stay connected to in a lot of ways. So I'm not sure I agree with you that maybe you feel that way, but it's not always mutual. You know what I'm saying? There are people in your life who you felt a very strong connection to, like I have.
Right.
But I haven't heard from them in years, and I think if they did hear from me, they'd be like, I was hoping to never hear from you again.
Well, I didn't get that. I mean, I'm sure there's people who I didn't hear back from who felt that way, who were like, okay, she, whatever. Like, and I absolutely would be, again, that makes sense. That's logical, and my whole point in saying that is that what I realize, and it's more about the climate we're in, where we're all divided with each other, that if I reach out to you individually and we get past all this social media, like you said, we get past all the divisiveness, and who cares how you're going to vote if we have some kind of history together, if there's some connection, there's something so far beyond that.
I care how you're going to vote. I do. Only this time, though. That's the only time I ever care how you're going to vote. Otherwise, I think if we go back to normal, normal being the normal dysfunction that we had before 2016, I will be happy. But now, is the book just a collection of the letters and the correspondence, or is it a story? Is it a novel?
No, it's a nonfiction. It starts with the story of Dana and I's letters and that whole narrative, and then it weaves the Facebook letters in, and it's basically 52 really short chapters of actual examples of the letters and just some of the lessons I got out of the book. So it's inspirational. It's it's.
Did you change names to protect the innocent?
Well, I referred to people by their letter number. Rather than their name. But even then, the publisher, every person whose words are in the book, I had to get them to sign a waiver to be in the book. And that was a whole nother project on its own, getting people.
Did anybody give you any resistance? Don't use me in this book. You didn't tell me you were going to write a book.
Well, I told them that I was just using their letter number, and then I gave them the opportunity to read their chapter. So just like regular people, I had people who were like, I want to read the whole thing. I want to talk to my lawyer about it or whatever. And then you had people who were just like, oh my God, that's great. I don't care what you do. Just do it. But that just is just like the letters themselves. Some people were like, I'll absolutely give you my address. And some people were like, you got to verify who you are and don't send an Amazon drone. And there had to be levels of security, but that's human nature, different people.
All right, we have to yell at Steven for a moment. Steven, you're late for class. What's your excuse?
No excuse. Show last night went really well. Partied a little too late. Overslept.
You failed. I'm gonna have to fail you for the semester. You're gonna have to retake the course.
Are you sure there's nothing I can do to get that grade up?
Could you kill GD? You slice his throat.
Sure.
No, slice his throat. That would be good.
Okay, but here's the problem. Though. I only have safety scissors, so it's gonna take a while.
That's even better. The slower the suffering.
I hate paying one. I'll give you some good scissors. Okay. I'll give you good scissors. Don't do it with that.
Fine.
So, Amy, what sports are you still a sports journalist now?
Yeah, I've with the 2 books and I've the speaking going on. This is the second season I've ever taken off from actively covering the season. But I was with the Bleacher Report for a long time. I write about college football.
Oh, the Bleacher Report. That's dope. I know that one.
Yeah. So I was with them for a long time. And then I kind of analyzed college football schedules for a couple of years. And so I'm kind of in and out of it. But that's really, if you ask me what I wanted to do, that's what I would want to do. Like, I like talking about my feelings. But I like
college football rather than the NFL?
Yes, absolutely.
There's so much more passion in college football than NFL. The kids have so much more to work for and towards. So much better playing. It's more passionate. The NFL is just a bunch of rich dudes just trying not to break their neck for 10 years so they can retire wealthy.
Right.
Well, now I'm curious because just with your sports background, are you better at gambling than the average idiot?
That's a good question because you would think so, but I think sometimes all that information and what's really a reality, it's the best reality TV there is sports, and things are going to play out. I think you can almost have too much information. Now, I can win football pools, but I think when you start putting money behind it, you overthink it, or it's like hitting golf balls on the range versus hitting them on the course. There's something there so I think I'm better than average, but to say I'm good at it, because that number side is a different thing than writing about it. I think it's a different thing. The Vegas guys, are the Vegas guys for a reason.
Yeah, I think
it's like taking a college exam when you put down your answer and you should have stuck with that answer, but you change it from A to C, and then you find out the answer was A. It's the same thing with gambling. You're like, I really like this team, and then you overthink it, and you pick okay.
Right. Yeah, and college football is that's the other thing that's great about it is because, the NFL is that way now too with the salary cap, but with eligibility and now with this whole NIL thing, it's always changing. And that's what's exciting, because the whole roster shifts, every year it's a new team. And now we're at this new age of college sports with the NIL and the super conferences. I mean, we're going to watch a whole nother sport. It's going to morph into something else in the next 5 years.
Now, do you think paying the players is going to impact the quality of the game in any way?
I don't know of the quality of the game, if it's going to affect that. I think that it's going to impact, it's hard to say. I mean, will they play up to that? Or that's a great question.
Thank you. Write that down, Matt. Another great question.
Well, it was a softball question. He's had that. Every sports person he talks, he has that question. It's not like he thought of it on his own. So don't give him any credit, please.
Okay.
We try to keep him down. He's got a purpose here, and that is just to be obnoxious and just drive people crazy, and that's his entire place in that. Let me just. I was a child of a bookmaker, somebody who was very involved in gambling on sports in general, but football and college football, big time. My father had customers, bettors, who were referees in NFL games, referees in college football. Last year, we during this time, or actually like during the season, we had Brendan Walsh on. Brendan does a football picks podcast with Doug Stanhope every week during football season, and I asked him, "Do you think games are fixed?" Because with more and more controversial calls, my father was completely of the belief that games are fixed. Refs are working the point spread as hard as they can. It's a difficult thing to do. Brendan unequivocally said, "Yeah, you got to." With all the crazy calls that you're seeing and all that stuff, there's no way and this is him speaking. There's no way a rational person could look at this and say they're not fixing games in some level or fixing the point spread. Do you? Are you a rational person? Do you agree with that or disagree with that?
I think human nature tells us there has to be some kind of some of that in every sport. I would think that there's, because you got people involved with money and points. I don't, unilaterally. I think the NFL gives more examples of that than college football. There's so many college football games, it's hard to really, pinpoint. But the NFL, you see calls, especially over the last 4 years, that are just so ridiculous that there's no way to frame that except for to say somebody's screwing with somebody, but to unpack which games that's happening and which not. But I think human nature tells us that there's some crap going on in every facet of human life. There's somebody
No,
trying
I
to,
agree.
The
thing with college football is there are so many games on Saturdays, and this was just from my experience in the early 70s, helping sort through who won and who lost. There are so many games going on, and there's so many. It's so easy to overlook any details that might be corrupt if you're a law enforcement and saying, or even league enforcement or division enforcement saying, well, it looks like there was some shady stuff. There's just so many games going on. It's easy to muddy the waters and have people not really notice the corruption that's going on in college football.
Right, and they're making so much money, and so why, why mess with that? Because you got to act like that's what the NCAA does. They act like they're protecting the integrity of the athletes in the game. They're just cashing the checks,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So you've taken time off from covering football. Stephen, are you having fun playing with your little effects up there? Do you not get enough attention? Do you have?
Listen, I don't usually do this show on the iPad, and the Apple camera has all these effects with hand gestures.
Right. Would you like to participate in? Would you like to participate in the conversation? Do you have any questions, or are you just going to play with hearts and stuff?
I really like your glasses.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Are you talking to me or the Mind Dog?
No, I'm talking to you. The Mind Daughter, his glasses are the same as they've always been. So
okay.
Well, you are in charge of getting. Have you followed up with iBoss at all on our sunglasses? No.
The last message I sent was 2 days ago, which was, "Hello, are you still alive? I can send help."
Do we check their website? Are they actually in business?
I can't. I can't get in touch with anybody. I've sent another email and I used WhatsApp and nothing.
All right. Well, we are getting more collaboration offers, but I'm not going to do anything until we get our glasses.
Yeah. What the fuck? Sorry. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. That's right. So now your other book, Amy, is You Can't Mess This Up. Is that what it is? You can't mess this up.
Yeah.
Hold my beer.
You cannot. You can't. You cannot mess this up. I just messed it up. It can't.
Well, it was a lie all along.
All right. What is that? Is that a novel?
Yes, that's a novel, and that's basically my intention with that book. Was I was going to write myself back in time to my own childhood, and it was going to be to the 70s, and it was going to be totally hilarious. But then I realized if you're going to write yourself back, hang out with your 10-year-old self, and your parents are the same age as you in the book, then all of a sudden you're going to, think about how you make memories and how a 10-year-old would remember something different than a 40-year-old would. And it's hilarious, but it's also, it ended up having, a lot of feelings. It's a fun read though.
True story that never happened is the tagline on that.
Mm-hmm.
So the story is based on a true story, or not, it never happened.
Well, it's like a memoir. It's like a story of my life, but it's wrapped up in a tortilla of fiction because it's time travel. So a lot of the memories are real childhood memories, and I just put words in people's mouth, and then I had it was great because it's a fiction book, so I could do whatever I wanted to with it, but I based it on a lot of what, reality of my own memories.
Mr. Obnoxious up there, did that time travel comment, did that trigger you at all? You upset by that?
Yes.
No, no. As a matter of fact, my question is that when you wrote that, did you change any of your actions as a child to make you a hero or the protagonist or antagonist in anything? Did you change anything, of your true stories to make yourself look better?
No, I definitely, the experience I had in writing it was because I, went away and like watched videos and looked at pictures and I was like, oh my God, she's a freak. And that's the way I wrote it. Because I was like, she is off, like she needed to be on ADHD, medication. And, but then I came, in writing the book, the whole journey was, I went from like wanting to run from her. And I was like, oh my God, she's cool because she's herself. And, by the end of the book, I was like, I lived a lot of the good parts of her away because I got out into regular life and forgot that, having a bowl cut and liking the Washington Redskins and wanting to go to Hickory Farms, that was pretty cool because I was getting the Pro Football Digest and I was 11-year-old girl and I realized that's pretty cool, but you look at your younger self and there's going to be some kind of cringing going on.
Now you have kids. One moment. You have kids, right?
Mm-hmm. I do.
What kind of sibling do you think your younger self would be to your kids?
Oh, that's a good question. I think
I would. Matt, write that down. Another good question.
It's a terrible question. It's a terrible question.
It's a softball question. It's
just.
Yeah.
It's,
no, I think that
would be good. Question based in unreality.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I would be like the best person who ever lived if I was a sibling to my own children. But
ew.
I know. I know it's so weird. What would make you even think of that question? It's I don't know.
Just talking about time travel and this never happened. So why not go ahead and make the next logical leap? That
remember when we went back in time and I dropped you off the roof and you landed on your head?
I'm just saying.
No, right now I'm trying to figure out why you're trying to go back in time and date your mom.
No, I'm just saying she could go back in time to see herself. Why not bring her child self up to the future and be a sibling to her kids? Why not? It's as long as we're talking about things that didn't happen and can happen and won't happen and what happened, why not happen?
What's happening?
Okay, that's the.
That's it. So now this is an unconventional path in authorship. As you've gone from sports journalism to writing books about imaginary time travel,
right?
Putting a true story that never happened, to a kind of novel about letters and stuff. This is not the traditional author path. Do you have do you plan out the future in careers and like this, or do you know where your next step is from here in creativity in what you do?
Yeah, I'm working on the speaking now. I'd love to write a book about college football. Like that would be my, I'm kind of in between projects now. We just took our last kid to college, so now I'm gonna, I'm about to shove the boat off and do some different stuff. So I'm excited.
What college? What college? We want to know. Who's talking?
Oh, he went to LSU. Dropped him off on
LSU.
Friday. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you mentioned being a Redskin fan.
Yeah.
Now,
when I was a kid.
You're from You're from Houston.
Mm-hmm.
No, because football is the only sport. I don't know. Football is a majority sport where this happens, where people become fans of teams that are not in their hometown. So I'm just wondering how you became. Are you still a Redskins fan, or no? Are you Houston fan?
I'll always root for the Redskins. I was an NFL girl.
You mean Commanders, right?
Yeah, the Commanders. I say that because I was a fan in the 70s, but I grew up loving the Astros and I love the Oilers.
It's okay. I'm Puspatuk. You can say Redskin around me. We don't find it offensive. I am a Puspatuk Indian. So
okay.
As
of Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, listen. He reports to Chief Hoptua, and they've decided that it's okay to be using those words. So,
no. But yeah, no, with the football thing. So but because football, I have lots of people here who are not fans of New York Giants, New York Jets. They have, Steeler fans for San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboy fans. It's a weird sport. Like in baseball, people are loyal to their hometown team.
Right.
In football, they just, I don't know, what is it, the uniforms? What attracts you to a team from another city?
Yeah, I think it was looking at the Sears catalog and I saw the uniforms and I liked the helmet, first of all. And then I'm a Houston girl. And so Dallas is as a Houston sports fan, the Dallas people are so super snobby for no apparent reason about their teams. And they look down on the Houston people. So that the Cowboys don't hate any more than they hate the Commanders or Redskins. But so there was that push too, being like, because part of our family's from Dallas and it was kind of a screw you thing too. Like, then I'm just going to be and the Giants fans get that. I mean, there's no better hate than the NFC East, really.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
true.
I got
Absolutely.
involved in that. And I like the Texans, but once they took the Oilers away, that was a painful, experience because I loved the Oilers. And now that there's nothing more offensive, guys, though, than the freaking Tennessee people wearing all that Oilers stuff. And they can say what they want to say, that they own it and it's theirs, but it's a tragic miss. It is the most desperate thing I have ever seen in sports. Like,
I don't know.
I'm from Baltimore, and I grew up a Colts fan, so
I'm a Colts fan too. But I've also grew up in Indiana because whatever.
Right.
Well, I grew up with two football teams, New York football teams, that both play in New Jersey.
Right.
Yeah, but when you started watching football, they didn't even wear helmets yet.
That's true.
I grew up.
You did not.
I grew up setting fires at high school football games.
There's a lot of that going on.
Beautiful story.
Big difference going from the Houston culture to the West Texas culture of Lubbock.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like my dad and I drove out there, and we were like, where are the trees and where are we going? But Tech was a good fit for me because it's a chip on your shoulder school as a Texas football school. It's like, there's the Longhorns and the Aggies and the Colts, and then everybody's like, Texas Tech, and that's perfect because I say every day I wouldn't get out of bed this morning if I didn't think Texas Tech was going to win the national championship. Everybody laughs, but I'm going to have the last laugh, guys. I'm going to be the girl who's a national champion, and everybody's going to be like, I bet her head exploded right off of her neck. And it will.
Yeah.
I'm going to streak right down the field, and it's going to be beautiful. So I can't wait.
Video where it didn't happen.
Yeah.
My kids
video. Definitely
my
video.
kids will be like, Mom. But no, yeah. And West Texas is much different, obviously, than Houston. Whole different. You were in that area.
I haven't spent more than like a night or two in my entire life in Houston. Spent a lot of time in Lubbock, and Texas is a very it's a country. People don't know that it was a country, but it's very different. There are a lot of different cultures, and that's why I was curious about that, because my experience is West Texas. It's cow country and ranches and stuff like that. I'm sure there's a lot of that still in Houston, but Houston is more of an industrial,
international,
and
hot.
Yeah,
yeah.
very right. Yeah. We have your URL, amydaughters.com. You've left out the third name, the Wineland, from that part because you're trying to hide the fact that you're a serial killer.
That's right. It was all the web people. They were like, don't do that, or people are going to click on it, want to know who you knocked off. So,
well, this is where it becomes weird, because we had an author on in the earlier segment where he goes by John Graham, but he left a David in for the author because it sounds more prestigious as an author to have that third name in there.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing.
I left the Wineland in only because the first book had so much to do with my nuclear family that I grew up with. And I kind of wanted, I was real close with my dad. I just wanted the family name on the book because I didn't ever think I'd write a book in my life. I was like, I want it on there because, I'm going to give these daughters people all the credit. And all I did was marry into their family. So why should they get their name on the book?
My family said if I ever write a book for me to take my last name off of the book so that they would not be blamed.
Right. Yeah, there's that too.
J.K. Rowling. I thought you were doing pretty well, J.K. Book-wise. So are you going to continue down this way? Do you have another book in mind after this one that you're working on, or?
Yeah, we're just see where it takes me, because the way, like you said, my path has been very unconventional. But what I've, when you've written a couple books, then the next obvious question is people push you like, what's next? What do you got? I'm not saying that's what you're doing, but I found that I'm going to know what I'm doing when I, start it. So I'm going to start this next thing. And then what's next that's the way I work. We'll see what's next. So,
are you now? Are you self-published, or is this published by a traditional publishing house?
This last one was a hybrid publisher, which is, between
hybrid.
Yeah. So
it's part gas, part electric. That's all
exactly.
I know about
That's right. You plug it in at the Tesla thing. The ebook can be plugged in that way, or it can operate on solar. It's a solar book.
Because the author he's doing well with his first book, but he said so far he's made $80 on but he's doing well, and that is the
great reviews, but no money.
Well, that's it. If you're making money in the book game, both my books have made money, not a lot of money, but I mean that's it. If you break even or do better than that, then you're winning. Because it's
very discouraging for people who want to do it, though. And we talk about this all the time in the arts and comedy and music and in films, all the stuff. If there is not a way to an avenue to support yourself, I think it's bad for the quality of the art. It is telling the artists we don't value your work enough to support you for it, and I think that's bad for culture. Do you agree with that on any level?
Oh, 100%. Because if you can't support yourself doing it, we're losing a lot of people that are good at doing all those things. And
right.
I know from the book industry, the only way you can get up for sure, legit bona fide like big money making deal is if you. It's gotten to the point now you have to know somebody or have a name. You have to have a guaranteed avenue for a revenue stream for a publisher to get a really good deal. And it doesn't matter how good your book is. I'm not saying my books are great. My books are okay. I'm proud of them, but it doesn't matter. Just like music, it doesn't matter how good your music. It doesn't matter how good your whatever it is artistically, creatively working on it. It doesn't matter. It's about what you can provide someone financially guaranteed.
Some might argue that it's actually a negative to do too good work in today's marketplace and a lot of things. Now, I don't know if that's just sour grapes or whatever, but some people, especially people who are, listen, as you get older, you become the curmudgeon. Music in my day was so much better. But a lot of the music professionals, the people who are in the industry for their life, are just saying we are stuck with crap. And the industry wants crap, and if you're too good, you're gonna ruin your chances of making money with it. They want garbage, and that's a sad place to be. I'm concerned about the future of society if we just going to destroy culture or devalue culture to the point that we have. At some point we're going to suffer because I'm not sure that we're not already suffering because of it. But it's definitely disheartening to see.
It is. It is. And like you said, it blocks people. People aren't going to want to do it. I mean, everybody wrote a book during COVID, or not everyone did, but so many people wrote books during COVID, and that's the other thing. The market gets flooded, and then there's more opportunity, but it's hard to filter through what's even out there. And is it any good?
Where does the satire come in? In this book, is there satire? I mean, where are you a blogger? I mean, where is the satire?
Well, the first book is a humorous book.
Okay.
I'm my speech is serious, but it's funny. I'm more comedic in sports than I am. Let's talk about our feelings and be inspirational. It's more about that. That's more of my personality. So the first book won awards for humor. I would love to do stand up, but I've never done that. And maybe I could. Maybe that's my next thing. But
hey, listen, if
I've
these
never
guys
stood
could
up
do it,
either. So
the sit down comedy. I listened to one of your episodes this morning with the sit down, the two comedians, and yeah, that was fun. So
it was.
Yeah. Because I knew this was going to be fun.
I'm shocked.
Like, I got to get my A game. I should have had like 6 coffees.
I'm shocked by that. Anyway, we appreciate you being here. Good luck with the book. AmyDaughters.com. Dear Dana is the name of the current book. Maybe you can check out both books while you're there.
Well, one last question, real quick. When you did the postage, did you use forever stamps or Oh my God. I'm just curious. Because that's a lot of postage. Or did you
Yeah,
have
it
like a
is.
bulk rate?
No, I used Forever stamps. I mean, it went over 18 months, so it was like $600 and something in postage.
Oh,
So
see, that was my next thing. That was my
yeah,
next.
so I'm a numbers girl. It was like $647, and I told my husband we're just keeping the post office in business. So.
So is it tax deductible now that you made a book from those things?
Is what's that? Say that again.
Is the postage tax deductible since you used it in efforts to make the book?
No, because there was no intention of a book when I was writing the letters. I didn't decide to write a book until
so you can't
afterwards.
recapture that then. There's no way
No.
to like grandfather
You
them
could have
in.
lied. You could have
Yeah.
lied about that. Yeah.
Yeah, but she can't lie now because we're alive and the IRS listens to all of our
IRS monitors this program like it depends on our revenue,
But
our dollar.
Not a sponsor.
All right. Well, Amy, thank you for being here. Good luck with the book. And if there's anything we can do to help you boost sales, just let me know, and we'll be happy to do any kind of promotions that you want for you.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on. I enjoyed
We'll
meeting
even
y'all.
run naked. We'll even run naked on the football field for you.
Yeah, y'all watch when Texas Tech wins the whole thing. Look at
I've done that at Texas Tech. I've actually
streaked?
streaked at Texas Tech. Yes,
I'll
that
tell
was
you.
when streaking was a thing in the 70s.
Yeah. My opinion of
So-
you just went up like 84 bars. So that's incredible. So
I streaked with
congratulations.
with two girls. One, I told them both I was a virgin. By the way, I was not a virgin. I was 18 years old, and I ran with both of them. Both those girls were like professional streakers. That's all they were doing, and they talked me into running through the football field. Texas A&M game, by the way, was before the game, but we streaked through the stadium.
Did you get arrested?
Didn't get arrested.
Oh wow!
No, didn't get arrested. It was the 70s. They would basically just tell you put some clothes on and then go back to your seat.
It's like the dream scenario. I mean, are you kidding me? That's like one of the best things I've ever heard in my life. That's great. Thank you for your
Thanks
service.
for being here.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
Service to the people of Lubbock. All right. Nice to meet you
All
guys.
right.
Bye.
For now.
Did you hear that, Matt? She said, "Thank you for your service."
Service, yes. It was a service to the people of. I mean, they got to see my exclusively. At the time, I was an Adonis. I was a lovely specimen of a young man.
And
you guys would have got
that's
born.
Italian for hairy butt.
It's Greek for hairy butt.
Greek for hairy butt. Okay.
Right. Yeah. It's all Greek to me anyway. So yeah. All right. So we got to author Monday. Read any good books lately? Those girls went on to make. No, one of the girls was one that I described earlier, who was in the Scientology thing, and a paranoid delusional now that Miscavige is stalking her. Anyway. So yeah, what else you got? You guys got anything? Steven, where are you? You're in Michigan now?
I'm in Michigan, yes, sir.
And how is that? Is it good? Do you see?
Is
Kid Rock? Is Kid Rock there getting ready to shoot up the Doritos?
I don't know.
There he is.
There he is. Fuck.
Shooting up
Poor
them
Doritos.
He's got an AGA hat.
Apparently, Harris likes to eat Doritos, and she's taken. They got mad at her for eating Doritos at one stop, and then she purposely now is getting Doritos every place she goes. And I think the entire DNC tonight will be. Doritos has to be loving this. It's free advertising.
I think she needs to eat Doritos and then take the orangey part on her finger and wipe it on a Trump banner or Trump flag.
Oh,
yeah.
Now, Ron, when you were Mr. Frito-Lay, that's your actual nickname in comedy, right? Mr. Frito-Lay. Is Doritos part of that brand?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the biggest part of that brand of Frito-Lay.
So yeah, I would think back in the day, the Frito Bandito was the king of the brand, but
yeah, it's
Lay's potato chips.
Like Doritos and Cheetos, they cannot make enough of them.
Wow. So do you think they're enjoying this free publicity they're getting with this stuff? The Republicans are giving some backlash, but we all know their boycott means just do more of it. Like the boycott football, and then they go to the football games. They boycott beer, and then they drink the beer or buy it to shoot it.
They buy the Doritos just so they can stomp on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Buy the Doritos so they can shoot the bags.
Yeah. They boycott everything except for Grindr.
Right.
Yep.
So if now if you get a phone call, the phone rings. We got to rush on Doritos. We need you back. Layoffs. Forget about the layoff. We need you back here. Are you going back?
No.
No.
They've
You
hurt
never going
him.
back to.
They've hurt Ron. They took his job and they gave it to a lesser company, a lesser country. It's awful.
He's
And
not even black.
my white job was taken.
Yeah.
Fuck. You're not even black, and they're treating you like a black man.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
That's why Ron.
It is.
That's why Ron has so much in common with the black comics. He knows their pain. He knows what it's like.
And that's why every time I put my picture in AI, the AI always makes me black.
Did it? I thought we saw one last week where you didn't appear black.
But that was claymation. But that was AI claymation. They tend to get that right. They get the claymation.
Oh, the claymation stuff. Yeah, that's right. You're absolutely right about that. Right again, GD, JK, or whatever your name is.
It actually nailed my image with the urn. My wife couldn't tell us apart. She was like, "Wow, I can't tell them apart."
Do we have anything? You guys got show business? You guys got anything to contribute here today, or we're just gonna?
Well, the Reverend just got confirmation on when he's doing his next show.
Ooh.
What show is that? Is that Church Satire?
Blasphemy.
What is that?
Blessings and Blasphemy 3.
At the Church of Satire.
At the Church of Satire. This
time is personal.
This time
is personal. Yeah, it's.
In what way?
This.
It's going to be in October. He's got the date nailed down. Yeah.
So, are you writing off the sex toys that you buy for these shows?
Yeah, because that's the only thing they're being used for. So yeah, they're legitimate comedy expense. That's the
wait till the IRS shows up.
Where's our bullshit detective? We need a bullshit detector. That's all they're used for. I never fucked one of these sex toys.
Not one of them. No, I have not.
Yeah. Where's our? Don't we have a? We don't have a bullshit detector noise.
I would think that Steven would have something. Steven probably has one of those gestures. If he makes a hand gesture, it pops up bullshit or something.
Yeah, no, Steven, I appreciate that you found something new that you want to play with. That's a good bullshit. But don't do it while we're trying to have a conversation with a guest. That's like a little kid running around like fucking annoying the adults that just need to smack in the fucking head. Yeah. Now the people, you don't smack children. You don't smack children. Steven is not a child. We smack him.
Steven, do you know what all those hand gestures do, or are you just learning as you go along?
I'm kind of just trying to figure out what does. I heard there was one if you
do this. Do this. See what happens. Nothing.
No, something happens. It's just not happening on the screen.
All right.
There's going to be this little exploding thing like this.
All right.
Wait,
Ron, do you have show business? Oh no, you failed at show business. Did you fail?
I got a couple stories.
He has a couple of stories. All right, let's do
and boom goes the
dynamite. For people on the radio side, Steven just dropped dead. It's show business.
And now, bringing you the latest in entertainment news from Hollywood, New York, and East Bumfuck, Montana. Here's our chief entertainment correspondent, Ron Kane.
Showbiz.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showbiz.
It is. Before we get started with showbiz, I just want to, because I know somebody's going to say, hey, what about Govs? Governor's podcast studio offline this week. The only show on Governor's Network this week is this one. So we don't have to say goodbye to them at all this week. We could actually do a marathon show if we wanted. We're not. But so don't say, hey, get rid of Govs. Okay, now enjoy the stuff.
We could do a comedy show actually and just solo out the performer. Just like that. We could just do like a comedy show
if we actually knew some really funny people, we could do that.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right, showbiz, everybody. There's a couple headlines. So let's get moving. So, Alien Romulus was the #1 movie in the theaters this week. It actually made like $41 million, dethroning Wolverine and Deadpool for the first time in weeks. So aliens are back apparently, and I think this movie's got some pretty decent buzz on it. It's supposed to be pretty decent. I don't know. I haven't seen it. My wife actually wants to see it, so who knows?
I know one of the big reasons this movie is being so successful is I know they went back to practical effects for this movie. So everything from the face huggers to the aliens themselves, they're all practical effects. They're physical beings. Yeah, they're puppets and they're animatronics, but they did very little CGI to have between interactions. So the movie is supposedly just a fucking grand slam. I can't wait to see it.
There you go.
All right, then.
All right. Our next story here. Ellen ends it. This past weekend, she wrapped up her comedy tour in Minneapolis and her final performance as a stand-up. So she is officially retiring, I guess, and she's got a Netflix special coming out sometime in the next few months.
What's she going to do? Is she going to produce shows? I mean, she's got talent and money. What's she going to do? Is she just going to go around hating people? You know,
I was just hoping that we'd never hear from her. I thought this meant that we'd never have to hear from her, see her face, hear anything about her ever again. This is not what's happening.
No, she's still around for a bit until that Netflix special drops. Then you'll probably see her do a press for it, and they'll be like, "Why'd you quit stand-up?"
Sorry, I zoned out. Why are we talking about Justin Bieber here?
It's
so, I mean, she's got enough money. She can do whatever she wants. I don't even know why she did a stand-up special, honestly.
She probably had material sitting on, probably had material that's been building up, and she just said, I got to get it out.
Yeah, probably.
I haven't heard anything about any reviews of her work at all. But I'm sure it's not up to snuff. It's not not good.
Now the show should be her just berating former employees. That's right. So I'm sure you may have heard over the weekend, Perry Kurtz died. Famed LA comic. He was killed in a hit-and-run accident by an 18-year-old driver. He was just crossing the street and he got hit and killed.
Tragic. The kid get caught?
Yes. Yeah, he's been arrested.
And you plan on giving him the death penalty?
Yeah, why not?
Because he's 18. 18-year-olds make mistakes. As tragic as this was, you don't kill kids. What's wrong with you?
Well, I think it depends on the kid. Like, what was he just scared and he ran away? Was he on something? There's got to be factors. Yeah, you're right. People do make mistakes, and maybe it's just a tragic accident.
18 years old is, you know what? We were talking about this before with John. I think about my life and all the little tiny things that saved me from being a willy in my life, and I could have easily been gone to prison. Could have easily went very wrong so many ways in my life. I managed to make it through life without any of. I didn't kill anybody that I can remember or that I know of. But didn't
That's
make
fair.
any of those. Yeah. So, yeah.
GD, you posted something about Perry the other day, didn't you?
Yeah, I had him on Done Way Past Funny. I interviewed him for like 3 hours. And he's been connected to a lot of comedians. He's like the Forrest Gump of comedy.
Yeah,
and in music as well, because he used to do music before he did comedy. And he opened up for a bunch of music acts as well.
Wow.
I just want to. The Rev told a story about the suspenders and Robin Williams. I was calling bullshit on it. I'm just calling bullshit.
The Rev was just repeating what Perry said. Okay.
I know, but because Robin Williams and because the suspenders were part of the Mork from Ork costume, and he just kept doing that in his stand-up after Mork from Ork.
But
So,
but he was doing comedy before the Mork from Ork thing, and so Robin Williams knew him. They knew each other. They used to hang out together before the Mork from Ork years. They used to hang out together. As a matter of fact, there was according to Perry. Look, I'm not going to.
Right.
I don't want to.
we'll get him on the show. Get him. See if you can book him on for next week, and we'll clear this up.
Well, I tell you what I do. I will get the interviews off of Done Way Past Funny and then re-edit them to make them say anything you want them to say.
All right. Well, don't you have a time machine that we could go back to just a couple of days ago?
I haven't invented my time
Watch
machine
your
yet,
step.
But I'm going to invent it half an hour ago.
Look
right, we'll move
ways.
on. So speaking,
let's move back.
Yeah. Hey, I didn't change this, but Phil Donahue, has died. That news broke about an hour or so ago. So
really,
yep, he is dead.
Oh man, he's super dead.
Wow. Poor Marlo Thomas. Now all she has to do is raise money for St. Jude's and stuff. That's all she has to do.
Yeah, so he has died at the age of 88. So he was probably just
nice long ride.
Yeah.
Christ, did a cow shit in here?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Phil is dead, and he's not coming back for.
He's dead. He's dead, Tom, and there's nothing we could do to bring him back. So it's up to you to make the peace with Sonny.
There you go.
All right, enjoy that stuff.
Then then for showbiz, I figure I'd leave this in here because apparently Slump is coming to York, Pennsylvania today, probably to either try and score some fentanyl or enjoy the subtle racism that we have around here.
Probably both, honestly.
Yeah.
All right. Did you see J.D. Vance brought up Epstein in one of the Sunday morning things the other day, yesterday? Just in it was, I don't know what the hell he was trying to say, but he was making an equivalent to having Epstein watch your kids or something like this. It's like, boy, it's like tone deaf. Like, I'm sure Trump is thinking, like, don't even mention Epstein. It just gives people a reason to remind people that I like to fuck children. Whatever. I could take my glasses off. GT, you can take your glasses off. You know that, right?
No, I didn't realize. Did he? I didn't realize. No, I can't take them off.
Showbiz is over. Showbiz is dead, like Phil Donahue. It's dead, and it's not coming back.
It's over, Johnny.
Now, Steven, did you even know who Phil Donahue was before that segment, or no?
No,
Why
I
would
have
you?
no idea who that is.
Yeah, he was Oprah before Oprah was Oprah. That's who he was.
Oh, Donahue. Okay.
Yeah.
He had a show like Oprah's, right? Okay. That was before my time, but I do remember seeing clips of it later on.
He was kind of the first guy to really ruin television with. We're gonna have porn stars
like a light Jerry Springer.
It was having talk shows of ridiculous subjects that, like the Maury Povich stuff, like who got who pregnant, and he was, the first guy to have that daytime talk show that was just about sensationalizing kink and other stuff.
Wholesome.
That's what he was in. Yeah, we have him to blame for this world that we live in. Got to blame somebody. Let's all blame Donahue.
Deal.
Yeah. Oprah has gone away. Oprah is done, right? She's done.
Oh, she's bathing in $100 bills and shitting on gold toilets and.
I was thinking about her the other night because she was one of the people who urged. Now this is going back to the '80s. Urged Donald Trump to run for president. What did anybody ever see in him that so many people thought he might make a good president someday? Because at the time, his racism was anti-Japanese. He claimed it was all business stuff, but he didn't like the.
I think back then it was the fact that he was, at the time, one of the wealthiest people alive, Two, he would do these little what I call breadcrumb philanthropy, where he would do like little things to help people here and there to look good, not to do good, but just to look good. And it gave him this persona that everyone's like, oh, he's the Prince of New York. Of course he could run for president.
Philanthropy was never in his game.
No,
I know.
But you hear stories about it, like little pieces that he would do, little things.
Right. There was a big talk about this one fundraising. It was a charity thing. He went and he sat in the front row to make it look like he was one of the contributors. He didn't give a dime to it, and walked off. It was always a piece of shit. I don't know, but
so he's half Jewish. Got it.
He was never one of the wealthiest people alive. I mean, he's always been. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but at that time, he was just a multimillionaire living off of daddy's money.
Yeah, well, during my childhood, that's how he was perceived. I mean, there was a Christmas that I got a Donald Trump action figure and a board game.
Action figure?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you still have it? It could be worth like dollars.
I blew it up with fireworks.
I'm sure you could probably sell it to a cult member for more than just dollars. You probably, listen, they pay like $400 for a fucking pair of gold sneakers or $65 for a Bible with his name on it. An action figure, you can get.
But it's an original Bible that he helped write.
In retrospect, I wish I would have saved it, but yeah, I blew it up with fireworks.
Wow.
As I did with most of my toys.
That is so mighty Indiana of you.
Yeah, I know.
So tomorrow we have Aaron Bullitt and then Jackie Martling on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're excited about Jackie?
I'm always excited about Jackie. And I won't have to go. I don't have to go early this time. So, because the last 2 times he's been on, I've had to leave early. So
he took it personally. He thought you were leaving because of him. He was distraught over it. He was distraught over it. He wrote Matt like 19 emails after that.
Listen, all week, all I'm doing is writing comedy and performing. I have no kids, no responsibilities, so I'll be here for the whole thing. I'll even rub his back if he wants, or his front.
Oh, speaking of, thank you for helping me out with the lighting and stuff. It came out, it was great.
No, it's no problem, man. Told you anytime.
Tomorrow.
It was great. I forgot to even ask you about that. How was the turnout in the online audience? I know you had people in your house. How many people tuned in? Do you know? 0
for the second show. Literally
Ouch.
0. Literally 0 for the second show, but I did it anyway, and because I had people in the living room. But for the first show, I think there was 3 paying, but they were multiple people watching. Like around their computers, that kind of thing.
So next week, Leanna's going to be on the program. I'm just curious how, because I talked to Ron about this, being a producer of nights after years and years of this kind of stuff, where you get these small crowds. It has to get disheartening. I'm just wondering for her and doing this stuff, doesn't it break your heart at some point? You're putting out all your effort. You're trying to make this something. And then you get 0 showing up for the second show. 0.
Right, 0.
I would be like, fucking, what am I even doing here?
I mean, that was, like I said, 10 o'clock at night here on the East Coast. So I didn't expect
7 p.m.
But I was expecting West Coast, and I didn't get that. So, but
then
then again,
this is Friday night or Saturday night?
Friday night, right? Friday. I think it was wasn't it? It was Friday. It was a Friday night, right? No, it was Friday.
You're right, because I helped you Thursday night.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So, but to be honest, I was more interested in the prospects of being able to do it, And so my real goal was to do it, to have a live, like let's say, perform at a comedy club, and have the virtual audience at the same time.
Yeah, I think proof of concept. I think that worked beautifully.
Yeah, and that's what it was for me. For me, it was proof of concept.
Comedy club was a little difficult in this respect. you have to make sure they have really good internet connections, and that you're not on the guest network where they have people in the audience connecting to it,
My
Wi-Fi
thing,
and all that.
my premise, my proof of concept is to use my phone as my hotspot. So I'm not on their network.
Not
I'm on
great.
my own.
Yeah, but that's not great for streaming stuff. I mean, you
It's
really
4G.
need.
It's 4G. It's still I get
4G doesn't really handle streaming like it used to, though, and they've turned
Yeah.
the bandwidth down to make room for 5G. So I would say if you're going to do that, get a 5G phone.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I can take this then. This is portable. I can take this with me.
Yeah.
I could take this with me.
Yeah, this
mobile
is
hotspot.
Yeah, this is a 5G hotspot. I could do this.
Perfect. That's what I would use. Yes.
Or you could embed if you're using video and stuff, embed everything and have it locally. That way.
Oh, you could do it from embed.
Just as
Is
a
that what you said?
contingency, so you're not relying on Wi-Fi to begin with.
Yeah, so like I said, it's proof of concept. It's something that it's something to consider.
Yeah, after you did that show, GD, I had a similar idea of this when we do this tattoo show to maybe live stream it through Plausible.
Well, Ron White was on last week.
Did you see the Reverend is now following you?
I did.
Yeah, because we cannot follow each other as fans, as comedians. I cannot, as a comedian, I can't follow you. At least I couldn't figure that out. But the Reverend joined as a fan and followed you.
Yep.
That don't make no sense at all. It don't make no sense at all.
Well, I'm just learning that. I was trying to.
It don't make no sense at all.
Well, I found that out because when you posted your Plausible, I went and signed up, and it wouldn't let me follow you as a comic either. I was like, "What the shit? This is stupid."
Right. Yeah, so I'm gonna let
can't be a
Leanne
fan
know
and a
about
comic at the same time. That doesn't make sense.
That's what I was going to.
It don't make no sense.
We're gonna have to yell at Leanne about it. We're just gonna have to scream at her.
No, I'm not gonna scream. I'm gonna just send her a little text and let her know. See what you.
Oh, you guys are on texting basis. Does your wife know about this?
Oh yeah, I'm very textual. Matter of fact, I'm bitextual.
I'm just curious.
I send text and receive them.
We'll get to this next week. But how long could she keep this heartbreaking suffering of a effort up before it just breaks her heart and she just wants out?
Well, my thing is different than what because she does. There are like lots of open mic stuff that's on there. She has quite a few shows that's on there on a regular basis.
And any of them doing any like real business?
I don't know the answer to that. That's something you'd have to ask her. Because my concern was what
should I sign up? Should I sign up as a fan or something and go check it out?
Sure, it costs nothing. It costs nothing to sign up as a fan.
It's too much for me. I can't afford it.
I'd say sign up as a fan, and you could probably follow me and follow Steven and maybe a couple of people. Perry Kurtz was on there, but he's not. Matter of fact, you could probably take Perry Kurtz's spot because he's no longer using it. You could be a comedian and just be Perry Kurtz. And a lot of his stuff he was doing musical stuff. You could do music. Nobody even noticed.
I can't do music.
Yeah, I bet if you performed out there, you'd get something. You're talented.
Well, all right, you guys. It just gets worse every fucking show. It just gets worse every show. We should just fucking end
Whatever.
it. I'm talking about Leanna dealing with this stuff. I'm dealing with this stuff. It just feels like
Ron. How did it go in PA with the club with the private comedy camp?
The campground shows went great. 2 shows. The first show was a clean one. It was an hour long. It was a little different this time because there were actually a lot of kids in the audience for the first show.
Wow.
Like the last time we had maybe 2, but this time there's just so many. So
when you say kids, children, I mean small children, teenagers, adults.
A little bit of everything, yeah. Small, like the first show, especially the first show, is small children because those are the parents that come out that desperately need a laugh. They're like, I just got to get away from these kids.
So that whole set you do about like incest and all
really
the perverted and the F bombs and stuff that you do.
Yeah, the
Ron's
5-year-olds.
best bit.
Yeah, the 5-year-olds love that shit.
Matter
Like,
of
what?
fact, Ron did a bit about Toys R Us, and the kids love it.
Yeah.
Your anal rape set. That's what we call it. Anal rape set.
I even on the clean set, I even ended on a joke for the kids. I gave them like a horrific dad joke that was in like one of my kids' books from back in the day, and it's why did the football coach go to the bank and to get his quarterback?
Oh.
And that killed. That was the song.
Now, when you tell a joke like that, do you do a Jackie laugh at the end of it? Jackie would tell a joke, "Why to get his quarterback?" In order to make it more like.
No,
okay,
I didn't have to. The kids loved it, and the parents were, there.
Wow.
Now, Ron, seriously, when you did that joke, I mean, because obviously you wouldn't have, if you didn't think it was funny, you wouldn't have done it. But did you die a little bit on the inside when you did that? Lifting someone else's joke and doing it, or did you just say it's for the kids? Fuck it.
Yeah, that's the way I looked at it. It's like, this is for the kids. I needed a nice, clean, like silly joke like that for kids, and that was there. So yeah, I took it.
No, I can't use it in my set though. I was going to use that.
I got a ton of stupid jokes like that. This is what I do. I don't know if you know this, but I am a dad joke type of guy. I study those guys doc jokes, whatever it is. Those guys who sit on the dock and just tell dad jokes over and over again. Each other.
Now, how did the adult show go?
The adult show was fantastic. They were there for it. My biggest issue with the show is there were like 3 tables up front, which I couldn't get anyone to sit at. So it was just the audience was broken up some. It's like, come on.
Did you rearrange it? Did you rearrange it so the tables and they just still didn't sit in the front?
Yeah, some people did, but there was a couple tables that weren't, like on the right-hand side of the stage. There were like 3 tables, but we had a great turnout for the show. It was just weird.
Because the place, it seems like it gets so packed that they will run out of places to sit. And even if they didn't want to sit up front, if they wanted to sit, they'd have to sit up front because they'd have to sit.
Yeah.
And they were just standing up in the back instead of sitting. Because the place does pack up.
Some at first did, and I tried to get them to move, but then they would just go to the seats on the outside around the stage.
Audience members. You know what it is? It's the crowd work comedians. They ruined it for everybody.
They have, because like when you try and seat people up front, the first thing they ask is like, are they going to pick on us?
Pick on me, yes. So you crowd work comedians, you're fucking it up for the rest of us who are actually good comedians who like to have an audience in the front row. You're pieces of shit comedians. Stop this damn crowd work. You're a bunch of morons. You're fucking it up for the rest of us. Sorry.
You okay, Jay?
I'm not okay. And that was not representative of the coffee with the dog people. This is just my opinion and mine alone. They may differ, but I think you crowd work people are screwing it up. Fuck off.
The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host or guest and should not be interpreted as statement of fact. Okay.
I'm sorry, Ron. I didn't mean to go off like that. I just got triggered for a moment.
Yeah, we have to go anyway. I have to go siphon water out of my basement. Siphon, dry vac.
It will evaporate. You know it will evaporate. You don't have to do anything.
It'll just leave a really nice mold behind.
Yeah, and there's so much that I could actually swim in it, or maybe fish in it. No, I can't wait for it to evaporate. Plus, my wife
turn all the heat on in your house and put a couple burn barrels downstairs. It'll dry out in no time.
All right. Do they drink at this private campground? They're boozing it up or not?
Yeah, they can. It's a bring your own bottle. So.
Oh, all right.
Matt, try drilling holes in the floor. Maybe the water will drain out that way.
No, that's where the water comes from. By the way, it's not like it rained and like the water just came in the windows. Or anything. It comes up through the. We are in a high water table area, so it comes up through the floor. It's not coming in through the windows.
So drilling. Okay, never mind. It's a bad idea. I was thinking
drilling more would come in. That would just get us more.
Sorry, bad
like drilling for oil.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned it,
everything you do is bad. It's just wrong. Bad. Stephen, will you be here tomorrow, or are you just gonna?
Yes, I'll be here.
If you show up late, we're gonna have to suspend you. In school suspension.
No, don't do that. Don't suspend them. Dock is pay. All
right.
Wow.
Well, I was gonna make him go sit in the principal's office.
You know, I figured us DEI hires would stick together.
No, because the less you get paid, the more I get paid. So if he docks your pay, Ron and I get to split the difference.
So blacks are
now that doesn't look like a hotel room you're in, Stephen. That looks like maybe somebody's house. No.
Yeah, I'm staying with a buddy.
You have friends?
The same buddy you drove up with?
I do. No, different buddy.
Ew. You
got more than one?
Michigan. Ew. Well, tell your friend in Michigan I said ew.
Okay, we'll do.
All right. So I'll get out of my room. We'll try to. We'll have some yucks tomorrow. Jackie will be here, so that means I won't even have to talk. So all right, get out. I said get out. He won't get out. It's time to say goodbye now. I want to just say tune in tomorrow for Aaron Bullitt. What kind of advice could you give me about my comedy career? Quit. That's it. And then Jackie, the joke man, will be here after that. Until then, I want to remind you not to turn on your radio, but to mind your broken borders.
Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free.
Let's see.